Damn, that's it. That's a crystal clear picture with the phone.
Cool.
Thank you, technology.
Right? Yeah, seriously.
You know, you'll see all these shows. It'll be like, what's the biggest thing that's ever happened in CrossFit, or what's the biggest thing that's ever, you can pick any subject, and no one ever says Apple. But really, like, that's like, that's like the answer to 90% of like whatever your business is. What's the biggest thing that ever happened to affect your business? It's like Apple.
That's a good point. We take it for granted, actually. Yeah. Such a good
Totally. All the innovation, the software, the connections, the ease of getting the equipment, the interfaces, it's nuts. It's like it's really is crazy what a backbone to our like especially someone's life like my life, the backbone of it's like Apple.
Yeah, 100%. Well, soon it's going to be AI.
Yeah, and we'll see what Apple does there too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Well, good morning. Your gas is now 2 cents more expensive per gallon today. Thank you, Mr. Newsom. Gas tax went up 2 cents per gallon. Now the state takes for every gallon of gas you buy in California, 60 cents goes to paying people to put on a tie, sit in a suit, and
Yeah.
I don't know what they do.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. This does not seem like the time to raise taxes on gas. I mean, and the sad part is I don't know about your situation. I'm going to project on you, but it doesn't affect me at all. Stay-at-home dad, don't drive much, 52 years old, already have, a couple rental properties. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm not the guy driving from Stockton to San Francisco who's in his car 3 hours a day. I mean, it's just nuts.
Yeah, no, same for us. I agree. It doesn't like affect us drastically, but I mean, I'm 55. I'm old school as well, and I yesterday, so I have a Sprinter van, right, which takes diesel gas, and I drove to three different gas stations to save 20 cents a gallon. Like it was just kind of silly, but I don't know. I just hate. We just pay so much more for gas than any other state, I feel like,
Yep.
and then our roads still look like shit. I just don't get it. Like, where's all the money going? It's absolutely crazy.
I wonder how I wonder what the plan is. And I know they haven't thought it out, but you know how they're trying to ban gas cars in the state of California in our
Yeah,
lifetime? I
yeah,
wonder what the plan is to raise all the revenue that they're going to need to continue to pay for their jobs at the state capitol when if people aren't buying gas. Oh, and I guess maybe it does affect you more because you're in the product business and your product has to move around like all over the globe.
well, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. 100%. Yeah, our shipping costs, because we use all of them. We let our customers choose, and we have accounts with FedEx, UPS, DHL, USPS, and those prices have been going up just exponentially year after year after year. It's crazy. Yeah, that's a real good point.
I had the guy from Slackbox left like 10 Slack boxes at my house, and I
What
was
what are those?
it's just it's a piece of foam, and you stand on it with one foot and you balance.
Very cool.
Yeah, and they have different densities and sizes, and it's like something you can do while you watch TV, and then yeah, it's this thing right here. Okay,
Oh,
so
very cool.
so that thing cost 63 bucks, so I was gonna send some away to people, like, on the show, like, "Hey, I have some extras, who wants them?" And the 2 times I've gone to the post office, it's $27 to mail that thing, like, to Alabama. I'm like, "Wait a second. Wait a second."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have the same issue. That's always a discussion amongst our team, just because we have the typical kind of incentive that if your cart purchase is over $100 or something like that, you get free shipping.
Yeah.
But we have the most expensive jump ropes on the planet. So like one jump rope, it's pretty much free shipping, and it eats a lot of the margin out of it. So, but what do you do?
Uh,
So
Dave, you're located in San Diego, California?
yeah,
And I think I went to your headquarters at least once,
you
but there was
did.
one time for sure I went down there with Greg when we were visiting, and there's a CrossFit gym right next door to you, right? Is it still
Yes,
there?
sir. Yeah, CrossFit East County. Yeah, owned by Paul and Tina Flores. Yeah, that's the gym that I started. My very first day of CrossFit was over 16 years ago, and they're still running strong.
And how long has RX Smart Gear been around?
Actually, this month, June, was our 15 year anniversary.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's why you filmed that really nice congratulations video. I appreciate happy anniversary video, which we're still putting together. Thank you for that.
Yeah, my pleasure, dude. I recognize your face. There's some faces that I just know that if I go to an event, I'm gonna see it there, and you're always there, and you're always smiling, and you're always warm, and I appreciate I appreciate always seeing you. When we went and filmed at your gym, at the gym adjacent to yours, the CrossFit East County gym, there was a young kid there, and I think he was like the youngest left-handed pitcher ever to be drafted in the first round. He was drafted to the Houston Astros or something, and Greg and I were over there, you know, checking out his CrossFit training because he was doing all of this training that like you weren't supposed to do if you were a pitcher.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that kid
Oh,
there?
100, well, I'm very good friends with the family. Yeah, Brady
Oh,
Aiken. Brady Aiken's
yes,
his name.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's an
Okay,
awesome
so of
kid. Yeah.
course you knew him. You're there. You knew him.
Well, I mean, he grew up in our gym, since he was like 9 or 10 years old, and his parents were members, hard chargers, and so yeah, I worked out with his parents all the time, and he was a great kid, super good kid. So yeah, he was the first draft right out of high school, first pick right out of high school, and I think 2017. And you're right, went to the Houston Astros. Good memory.
And he was a left-handed kid. I remember just being just remarkable, and it may be like the first, like one of 5 ever to be drafted in the first round who was a left-hander. Oh, and is he still in? Is he still playing baseball?
So no, he's not. He ended up at the over in Cleveland. He got picked
Okay.
up by Cleveland, and then I think he is now actually acting as an agent, working for the agency that represented him when he got into the league.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's working for them as an agent now. So yeah, he had a crazy story actually, because he got drafted by the Astros, and then they tried to renege on their, well, at least the way I understand the story, basically after his physical, they tried to renege on his contract and alter it, modify it after they'd already agreed to terms, and they were chopping it. I don't know the exact numbers, but it sounds like almost in half, because they found an anomaly in his elbow that they didn't like and thought that was going to become a problem, and so they tried to renegotiate his contract. The family stood on principle and with the agency, and they said no, we're not going to do that. So they ended up not getting drafted by Houston, and then he got picked up by Cleveland.
Okay, and it's funny. Someone said it in the comments. Let me see. Look at Bernie Gannon, so quick always. Brady Aiken was the Indians' first-round draft pick in 2015. What a crazy sport that you could be drafted in the first round, and then I mean, there's so many damn baseball players that what is it? The minors league is nuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was a great kid though. Super.
Hey,
I mean, still good.
hey, I'd like to hear how it started. I guess let's go back 16 years to how you found CrossFit.
Oh yeah, just a buddy of mine. A buddy of mine found it. Actually, about the same time as the owner of CrossFit East County, Paul Flores. Paul Flores owned a training gym, just your typical, fitness center with treadmills and Smith machines, things like that. And they found it on YouTube. And a buddy of mine named Dave Stroop, our kids were in kindergarten together, and so yeah, he'd come over and tell us about these, workouts and all the craziness. Of course, back then, this is in 2000. So he started probably rattling my cage about it in 2007, like last half of 2007. He kept telling me about these workouts, and then he went and got his L1 and was telling me all about his L1, and it sounded ridiculous, like I was not interested in it at all. And then he finally convinced me to take my first class. May of '08 is when I walked into CrossFit East County, did my first workout, threw up, scaled everything, and then threw up all over the place, and never stopped, kept going back.
Do you remember what you thought was ridiculous? Because I remember the first time a guy told me about CrossFit, I thought it was ridiculous too. And I thought, wow, this guy's so fit, so handsome, so smart. Why would he lie about his workout? Like I was 100% certain he was lying. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything him telling you that was just like, hey, that's absurd?
Well, he was just describing. It was funny when he was going through his L1. We were having dinner together, and we're sitting around dinner table drinking beers, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this thing called thrusters," and he's trying to describe what a thruster was, and then just describing Fran, right? Because all the L1s would do
Yes.
Fran back then.
Yes.
Yeah, and it just sounded horrendous. It just sounded really idiotic to me, like yeah, absolutely. I had no interest at all. And then when he dragged me in there, it was to the like 5 a.m. class as well. And I wasn't necessarily an early riser at that point in my life, but I ended up doing the 5 a.m. class for 16 years, so got hooked into it.
Dang. I remember the guy telling me, he described a workout to me. I can't remember what it is, but it had 100 pull-ups in it. And I was always proud of myself because I was one of the guys that could go into the meathead gym and just do 3 sets of 10 unbroken with like a 2-minute rest. And I was like, yeah, I always felt like so cool because I could do that. And then when he told me he could do 100 pull-ups over this workout, or that he was shoulder pressing, shoulder to overhead, 135 pounds, and I had never heard of the push jerk at the time. And in the workout had 50 of those. I'm like, God, this is just ridiculous. That this sounds like a 4-year-old telling me a workout. There's just no, you know what I mean? Like a 4-year-old would be like, my dad has a $3 billion bill in his pocket. You're like, uh-huh. You know what I mean? It sounded like that kind of shit.
Yeah, seriously.
What was your vocation at the time? What did you do?
I was a real estate broker,
Okay.
residential real estate broker. Yeah, for like 15 years. Just I had a little boutique firm with a handful of agents and a couple of employees, and we did sales and financing locally. Yeah.
So you were already and that was 2008. So that you were a highly motivated person, self-starter, inspired, and a go-getter at that. If you're in the real estate market in San Diego with your own boutique real estate business, would you say that describes you?
No, if you recall, well, in waves. So at that point in my life, it was 2008. That was right after the crash.
Oh,
So
right.
Yeah. So that's right. That's finally when I relented because I had more time on my hands. Like our business took some major hits, and so we downsized, and business was hard to scrape up. Everything was in transition. So yeah. So I was highly out of shape. I had pretty poor. I was a hard worker, but pretty poor life habits, right? Just ate too much, drank too much, didn't exercise enough, the typical stuff. So I was like, 35 pounds heavier than I am now when I started CrossFit. So I was kind of tubby.
Was that a depressing time? What's the deal with the 2008 crash? Basically, all of a sudden, it went from anyone could get a loan to no one could get a loan. Does that describe it?
That's the perfect way to describe it. Yeah, just the subprime market, it just took everybody down. Everything crashed. Home prices crashed. I mean, it was pretty bad. It was literally like that. Like that was the interesting thing is that so we didn't specialize in subprime. We rarely touched subprime. You're familiar with subprime, right? Just people with bad credit could get a loan.
Yep. Or not even bad credit. I think my mom got a subprime loan, which worked out great for her. She just bought a home that the bank didn't think she could afford. And so she was able to get this massive loan, and it worked out great for her because she was an attorney and she had a great job and she made money. But let me see this. A subprime loan is a loan given to a borrower who doesn't qualify for the best market rates. Okay. Yeah. So she didn't qualify, and then she got one of those.
Yeah.
And then, but it worked out great for her. Right. But,
yeah,
but for a lot of people, I guess it didn't work out. It was like, it's like when you order too much food.
Yeah.
Just because they thought they could doesn't mean they should.
Yeah, the candidates for subprime. I mean, subprime usually were either people with troubled credit wasn't strong, credit scores were low, or their income documentation was tough, right? So a lot of people that earned tips or money under the table, or just had a hard time documenting their actual income. Those were your subprime candidates. And so yeah, you're right. There are people who have interesting jobs and they're self-employed.
Right.
And
my mom was self-employed. That's what it was. She was an attorney, and we lived we lived crazy frugally. So
yeah. And typically self-employed, you're trying to write off, as much as you can, right? Just to show the lowest bottom dollar at the end of the year. So you don't get raped on taxes, so the system kind of builds it that way. So you're torn. So yeah. So when the subprime market kind of took everything down, just because people were using their homes basically as a debit card, right? Like they would just take out a loan, take out a bunch of cash, and then now they got this huge mortgage, and then with an adjustable rate, but then that adjustable rate would start climbing, or they'd have a teaser rate that would be locked in for 1 to 5 years, and then it would adjust. And when that happened, all of a sudden their payments were skyrocketing and people couldn't afford their mortgage payment anymore. So yeah, it was pretty catastrophic for sure. So, and the thing is we got caught up in it, and we were mine was a small firm. Most of our clients were, A to A plus credit. So everything is very straightforward, true blue. We call it Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac stuff. That everything's documented, right? Here are your pay stubs, here are your W-2s. Everything's straightforward. So, yeah, we thought we were pretty insulated as far as we had great credit. I mean, I coached people on how to fix their credit back then, right? So we had phenomenal credit, and we had money in savings, money in the bank. My wife and I drove Toyotas. We stayed very, very basic. I knew a lot of people in the industry when it was really going bonkers, and you'd see 18-year-olds that got their real estate license and they were writing loans, and they were just making, they were making too much money. It was ridiculous. And they're driving around in Mercedes and Hummers and things like that, so buying big houses. So we didn't do any of that. I mean, we kept everything very, very simple.
And you probably saw a lot of sad shit. I think now that I think about it, I think one of my friends was a broker at that time. And I remember him telling me he made $700,000 in 1 year, and he bought a super fancy house with the koi pond. He ended up losing it.
Yeah. A lot of that happened. I knew a ton of people that happened to, as well as clients. Yeah. So it's
Did you have kids at the time, Dave?
2 boys. Yeah. We had our 2 boys. Yeah. They were probably right around 5 and 7 or so.
Which makes that that's where it gets scary, right? Like, if you don't have kids, who gives a shit, right? You just like move back in with your parents, or get a really cheap place, or get a van. But you got kids, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We were super lucky. I mean, we ended up having to file bankruptcy. So our whole issue was not to air all the laundry, but
I love to
it's
hear
a good
it.
learning lesson.
Yeah.
I look back on it, back then I felt like a failure, a total failure, right? And like you said, kind of like self-starter, hard charger, all that kind of thing, and take care of the family. And I always felt like I could outwork anybody.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're not in control of everything, right? When the market stopped, it was the craziest thing. That all of a sudden it's like literally somebody just turned off the water spigot, and there was just no more business in that industry. And
it really was like that, Dave. So for your customers to come to you, they need a loan, and all of a sudden there were just no loans.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, underwriting changed dramatically, but then the bigger issue too was just homes were just falling out of the sky, right? Like, just people, there were so many foreclosures. Like, everybody was in a tizzy because they didn't know what to do, right? Like, there were so many people that were foreclosing on their homes, and then people that were staying in their homes longer because they're trying to work out, like either a short sale on their home, some type of a workaround, right? So then there are people staying in their home that they stopped paying their mortgage on for. I've heard of people staying in their home for over a year without paying their mortgage, and of course their credits, shot to smithereens. But yeah, it was really wild. That was a really interesting feeling. But and we had plenty of money in the bank. Like I said, great credit. We lived well within our means. But our big issue is we owned a lot of rental properties, and not in ideal areas, meaning they were areas that were probably more resort style, so a little more transient as far as like tenants would go. And so next thing we knew, we were carrying a bunch of mortgages. We'd lose our renters, and then now we have all these properties. And this is kind of before the days of Airbnb. And so, yeah, we were carrying a lot of properties, and trying to keep up with the mortgages until that finally caught up with us. So that was kind of our downfall.
Clydesdale Media, I was getting my MBA during that time. So much discussion about all of this. It was wild.
Big Scott.
What's interesting too is that was what happened for me then is my mom was sitting on a pile of cash at that point. My mom worked her ass off. She was a 80-hour a week self-employed attorney, and she basically did the whole thing. She bought a home a $400,000 home for $140,000 on a short sale, and she
Yeah,
gave me the $140,000 loan, and I just paid her back. And to this day, I still have that house. And like when I lost my job at CrossFit, things like that are what saved me.
that's amazing.
But crazy. But yeah, we got my wife and I got a great place on a short sale, but couldn't have done it without my mom, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
now they say in California, if your parents don't help you or you don't work in Silicon Valley where they're handing out $500,000 bonuses, you're not getting a house in California.
Oh yeah, it's so true. I mean, our two boys are 21 and 23, and we tried to get our older son into a condo like 3 years ago, and that was right when prices just started going bonkers. It was ridiculous, and maybe as long 3 or 4 years ago, and we'd go to make an offer on a condo, say a $350,000 condo, and there would end up being 10 or 15 offers on that property, and it would sell for like 430.
Yeah.
I mean, it just kept getting pushed up and pushed up, and I just said, well, we're not going to get into that rat race, and so we sat out. But yeah, I mean, and they haven't really come down dramatically, surprisingly.
No, I
They
know
would, but they haven't.
it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think home prices in my area, and I don't live anywhere fancy, have doubled, straight up doubled since I moved here 8 years ago. Just straight up 100%. The homes are all twice as expensive. It's
Well,
wild.
maybe you brought up the value. Maybe that's the Savon
God, I
golden
hope
touch.
so. God, I hope so. Hey, when I lived in Berkeley, I bought my home there in 2011, and I quickly realized that if it wasn't for Prop 13, no one on my street could afford their house because it was
Yeah.
Berkeley and it was all teacher. I remember my neighbor 2 doors down, um, uh, she was like the head violinist for the Oakland Philharmonic or whatever, and her husband
Wow.
was a violin repairman. And you're not going to pay property if they
Yeah.
bought that house for 50 grand and now it's worth $1 million. Yeah, they're not going to be able to pay the property tax on it. I think that's how a lot of California is. If they ever change that, people are screwed. People aren't going to be able to afford the property tax.
Yeah, 100%. That's gonna be crazy. Hey, my son was just up. Do you still live in Berkeley? My son was just up there. His girlfriend lives in Berkeley.
I'm in Santa Cruz now. I'm
Oh, okay.
yeah, like 70 miles south.
Yeah, no, I was just up there with Annie Sakamoto a couple
Oh,
weeks ago.
cool. Oh, did
Yeah,
you see her new gym?
yeah, I did. I went in and taught a workshop at her gym as a free workshop, as kind of a housewarming gift, if you will.
Dude, that's awesome. My mom
Yeah,
was there for a long time. My mom loved that gym, but they've moved to the other side of town, and although it's only 7 miles away, because we're stuck between these mountains and the Pacific Ocean, traffic's insane. So every mile is, an extra 30 minutes of driving a day. It's nuts.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So I kind of like the way this is going. So the market crashes, and it sounds like you took the same path that I did when I got fired. Instead of like going crazy and drinking more and kind of going into a spin and spending more time in front of the TV, you took control of your life. And that's what I would do. That's what I did too when I lost my job. You buckle down on working out. You start working on yourself. And that's right around the time when you started CrossFit. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you started working harder.
yeah. It wasn't around the time. Honestly, that was because of CrossFit. It was because of CrossFit, because my buddy dragged me in there kicking and screaming, and got through the first workout. I hated every second of it, especially throwing up, feeling embarrassed,
Yeah.
feeling like a piece of garbage. And then, went home, took a shower, brushed my teeth, had a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden you kind of start, those endorphins are still there, and you start feeling good.
Yeah.
Next day you feel a little sore, like, oh wow, I did something, right? Like your body feels different.
Quick
And
adaptation, especially in the beginning, right?
amazing. Yeah. And so I went all in. I mean, we were pretty crazy back in the day. I mean, that's still fairly early in the CrossFit, right? So
Yep.
back then I mean, at that time I was just turning 40. So,
And
you know,
San Diego was a mecca. You had who was the cop down there who had the gym in down by John Wellborn's place?
uh, well, Invictus was, it was CrossFit San Diego that eventually became Invictus. And then I'm trying to
And
think of
Lugo had that big gym, Eddie Lugo and Lisa Lugo, but then there was the other guy who was who's the guy who had the gym, like, in Newport Beach? He was a police
well,
officer, he had a wife, 3 daughters. That place was kind of its own little mecca of CrossFit.
Yeah, Newport's a little bit north of us. That's like an hour. That's like an hour north of us. Hour and a
God,
half
why
north of
can't
us.
I think of
So
his
I
name?
can't think of who that is
It's a
either.
Mexican last name. He was Mexican. His wife was white. They were cool as shit. They had 3 daughters. There were tons of L1s there. I just remember doing a ton of filming there.
Huh? Was it CrossFit Costa Mesa?
I don't
No.
think so.
Huh? I
Maybe
don't
someone,
remember.
maybe someone in the not Chalk, that not Surf City. Thank you, Caleb. I don't even know if the gym is still there.
Yeah.
But anyway, you were in a hub. San Diego was a huge spot for a gym. Quickly, there were 100 gyms in San Diego County. It was nuts.
Yeah, for sure. No, there were a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then so Dave, so um the real estate business, is it closed now? Did it close down eventually, the real estate business?
Yeah, yeah, it did eventually. I mean, I kept it going for another couple of years, but then this jump rope thing slowly started taking off, and
Was that scary? So here you are, you have 2 kids, the economy is doing some weird shit, and you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna start a business?"
yeah, I mean, it wasn't really like that black and white. I mean, I was still trying to do real estate. You know, I still had a couple of agents, so we are still, trying to chase down business in that area. But the jump rope thing was just a hobby. I was literally just giving them away. Like once I, started making them in my garage, it was just a fun hobby, and I was giving them to everybody at the gym that would ask for one, and so. My wife's the one that told me, hey, we just went bankrupt, and you're buying all this shit to make jump ropes. Like, what gives? What are you doing? And it occurred to me that it just felt really good, right? Because to
Yeah.
go from feeling like a failure to like, hey, somebody has something that I make, right? They want something from me, that I can give them, and bring a little bit of happiness into their life. So it made me feel good. Yeah, it was just that was the therapy, right? Going to CrossFit, working out hard. That was therapy. Giving people a gift, giving them a jump rope was therapy, right? It made me feel like I had value. So my wife said, "Hey, listen, that's great. I'm glad that you're feeling better, but you need to start charging people at least for the material.
Were
Otherwise,
you
we're gonna go."
spending like 500 or $1,000 a month on giving away jump ropes? Were you just
Oh,
in your garage?
I don't even know. But I mean, for example, back then, just because I wasn't trying to make them in mass, I mean, literally, it was a hobby. It was like crocheting. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
so I would go to the sporting goods store, buy the jump rope that I liked, because I bought a bunch of them over the years, and I kept tinkering with them, and then I settled on a pair of handles that I could, deconstruct all of the stuff off of it, and then build back my stuff onto it, and then put the cable, size it to the person, and then give it to them. So, I think in the end, it was costing me like $25 is what we figured out, was the actual cost, not including any labor time, right? Whatever my
Right.
time was worth, which I had no idea. And so I would charge people $20, and I felt guilty doing that. I'm like, hey, listen, I'll make you a jump rope, but you gotta at least give me $20 for the materials. So it was like giving them a jump rope and $5, pretty much every time.
Hey,
So
so that's how you got started. You were like the guy, like, like when we're kids, someone buys a car and then immediately they go to the auto body part and they're like looking to trick it out. That's what you were doing. You started off in the modification of existing jump ropes.
yeah, yeah. Well, so the same story that a lot of people have going into CrossFit, even today, even 15 years later, even though we've been on our soapbox trying to evangelize like how people can go about this in a better way. There was just no rhyme or reason, right? So I get into CrossFit, and my wife and I coached gymnastics back, like high school through college. A little bit after, we coached gymnastics at a club at San Diego State. So I picked up most of the CrossFit movements reasonably well. I'm not a great Oli lifter, but handstand push-ups, muscle ups, all those kind of things. But I just really sucked at double unders. It was frustrating that I could feel like I'm confident and athletic, yet I just was so inconsistent at double unders. And so I was just tinkering, trying to figure out why am I so bad, and how do I change this equation,
Blame the
right?
rope. Blame the rope.
Well, that was part of it. I mean, yeah, seriously. So here's the funny thing. You probably experienced this. You go into a typical CrossFit gym, and this still exists today, which is unfortunate, but it exists today. Is that for whatever reason, I know gym owners. It's hard to run a gym, and they have to really watch where they spend their money. And so, if a gym's going to provide jump ropes, they would always just kind of throw a smattering of mixed stuff
Yep.
on the wall, like cheap
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
And so new members that come to the gym that have no concept of what they need or what's going to fit them properly or what's going to help them learn properly, they just go grab anything off the wall and try and jump with it. And if they struggle, they'll go grab a different one and then keep trying until they find the one that, like, oh, you know what, I got more completed reps with this one. And so they would always target that rope, and that was me. There was this one rope with green handles and a black cord, and I would race to the gym before anybody else and go grab that rope off the wall because that was the one I felt I did the best with. And that wasn't even that good, honestly. So yeah. So then I thought, you know what, maybe I need to just go buy a rope from the store. Went and bought a rope. Again, I didn't have any concept of what I was buying and how to size it properly and any of those things. And again, lack of consistency, so I'd buy a different one, and then I'd buy a different one.
Yeah.
So then I started just kind of mashing the things together that I liked from each one, right? And so and then figuring out, like, a big component was figuring out, what's going to kind of minimize the variables as far as learning, right? Because there's so many variables when you learn. So how do you minimize the variables and kind of create an ideal environment, right? So that what you're working on is the right thing to work on. So, a heavier cabled rope was the key, right? Heavier and cabled, because a cabled rope doesn't change lengths. It doesn't stretch or retract, right?
Okay.
So that was huge. And then a little bit heavier, right? Like 3 to 4 ounces is what I figured out was ideal for me. And it turns out that's pretty much ideal for everybody, because that's still our best selling rope around the world. Probably more people have learned double unders on that rope. So that was key. And then figuring out sizing, right? Because your sizing dictates your positioning, and your positioning and your positioning dictates your muscle recruitment and your mechanics, right? And that's what a lot of people don't pay attention to, is like what muscle grouping and what mechanics am I using to just turn this little jump rope around my body. And so dialing that in, and that was just kind of like testing, a lot of the people at the gym that wanted me to make them a rope, I would test them, right? And I would write down their height. I would make various sized ropes and have them try each one. And then we would look at which one, put them in better positioning, which one had better spacing, like as it passed around their body and under their toes, and just paid attention to all those little details until we kind of like molded it into really a system, right? So we created a really just kind of simple black and white system of your height plus 3 feet should put you in reasonable position, and then if you can work shorter from there, you'll improve drastically. So so that was huge. That was kind of the start of it, just really tinkering. Or even then, it wasn't a business yet, right? Like that was just for fun. It was just kind of occupying time, and it was just it was it was a math equation. Not that I like math at all, but you know what I mean? It's like, oh, we got to solve this. Like, there's got to be some rhyme or reason. So, so that kind of got the ball rolling.
Were there any other objects in the gym that you were considering innovating, or was that you would focus down on that one?
Well, funny news or story, like actually grips. I made grips before I made anything else. I think I made grips for myself before I even made a jump rope.
Oh, because of your gymnastics background. So you were like,
Yeah.
hey, okay, we spent a lot of time hanging from bars or holding bars.
Yeah, exactly. And so my first pair of grips, and especially I still, I like the false grip, ring muscle ups, just like
Yep.
Andy Sakamoto, very
Me
old
too.
school.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, yeah,
I
even kicking.
never used this grip. Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. And that just, I don't really either. And that takes so much torque and kipping. And my shoulders just don't like that. So when you false grip and kip, it's just much more compact and controllable for me. So my first pair of
When you
grips that I
false
made,
grip and kip, it's more like correct me if I'm wrong, you're kipping up.
Yep.
When you do this one is when you start getting the swinging, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's how I think. When I kip, I'm like kipping up.
Yeah, well, for sure, because your kip is a much shorter swing, right?
Right.
So when you're doing a neutral grip where you're just hanging below the ring, yeah,
Yeah.
you need a much bigger swing to propel your hips upward. But when you're kipping, you can keep that pendulum shorter,
Yeah.
and you have the torque and the leverage to roll on top.
Yeah, it's more like
So
a handstand push-up kip or I don't know, but definitely the energy is going up and down
more so,
primarily.
yeah,
Yeah,
more so than a
yeah, yeah,
traditional, for
yeah.
sure, more
Okay.
so. Yeah.
Okay,
So my first
so you made grips first. Were you
yeah, I
making
made
grips when you were
grips.
teaching at the gymnastic studio?
No, I was done coaching. Our coaching career was
Okay.
was over. Like, once I got into real estate,
Okay.
overlapped a couple of years and then stopped. Yeah, stopped
So you were at
coaching.
the CrossFit gym and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna make myself some grips."
Yeah, yeah,
And were you
yeah.
just
So
making them out of tape, like one-offs, like one that would only last you like a couple weeks and then throw it away and make a new one like that out of tape or
no, I went and bought leather and I stitched up. Actually, like cut them out of leather and sewed up certain parts and
do you have
strapped them on.
sewing skills? Do you have sewing skills?
I was okay. Yeah, I did. I mean, rudimentary, just enough to make, kind of prototypes. Like I can't make like nice, fine, curated, finished products. But
You're not making tuxedo, but do you have a machine at your house?
yeah, well, I have a couple of machines at the house, and the
Oh,
ironic thing is, my son, my 23-year-old son, well, he'll be 23 here in about a month, but he's taken to sewing. He's a really well-known potter. He does pottery,
uh-huh.
and he got into sewing, and now he like sews like a ton of clothes. Like he's making jeans,
Wow. I wanna
shirts.
get my 7-year-old a sewing machine. He would love it.
Dude, it's amazing.
He would absolutely love it.
I'll send you my kid's link because he put something up showing a bunch of things that he made.
Yeah, please.
Just messing around, and he's just so into it. It's really cool, and he forges knives. Like he likes to make knives from scratch. Nice wooden handles,
Was he
nice
in the
art.
military, your son?
No, no,
No,
no,
okay.
no. Yeah, no,
'Cause
no
that's kind
military.
of I feel like that's kind of a couple things they get into. They get into like Dave's way into sewing and
Mhm.
and and then forging knives, and so it's kind of just down that line of those seem like to be like creative outlets for those guys.
Yeah, he's just my oldest son is just. I mean, both my boys are super artistic in different ways. So my oldest one likes to make things. So he pottery was kind of his thing, right? So he blew up during COVID because he started putting pottery videos up on TikTok, and he amassed like 6 million followers. So
Wow.
at one point he was the world's most like followed potter, and partly because he was a good looking kid, right? He's a surfer
Yeah.
kid and making pottery in this shitty little shack's playhouse in the backyard. And yeah, and people were bored, so they watched a lot of his pottery. He sold a lot of pottery too, which is really cool.
Dave, what
So
are you? What's your ethnicity?
half Korean. Dad's white, mom's full Korean.
And where did they meet?
They met in Korea when my dad was in the service.
No shit.
Yeah, that's kind of a common theme actually in the military.
What, was he active during fighting?
He went to Vietnam. He did. Yep.
And then so those guys, even while they're there, had time to like socialize and court and meet a woman. So while he was there, he met a woman who's your mom,
Well, he met
married
my
her and
mom.
brought her back. Go
No, he
ahead.
met my mom in Korea before he went to Vietnam. Yeah,
Okay.
he was stationed in Korea. Yeah, he was stationed out there in the '60s, mid '60s. Met my mom. My mom was working on the base, like kind of in a clerical position, and yeah, so my dad courted her and locked her down, and yeah, and then he got sent to Vietnam like in the early like kind of towards the tail end, second half, like 71, 70, 71, 72.
Did
Somewhere.
she speak English when they met?
Very little, actually. Very little.
And then
Yeah.
did she end up learning English?
She did. In fact, now she can barely speak Korean. It's pretty funny because once she came over, I mean, we all spoke Korean a little when we were young, and but since my dad spoke English, I mean, we predominantly spoke English, and so my mom's lost her Korean. I mean, she can still understand and communicate, but she tries to talk to my uncle. So her older brother, they came over. My parents sponsored to bring my uncle and his family over in the '70s, and they moved straight to Koreatown in Hollywood, right? And so they're just surrounded basically in little Koreatown. So that's all they speak is Korean. And my mom has a hard time communicating with her brother now because she says he speaks so fast that she's not picking up the words, and she gets embarrassed too. She gets embarrassed
Sure,
that she can't.
sure.
So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
You think what do you anything that stands out from you for you? Like, both my parents are Armenian, and so and I was raised. I wouldn't say like hardcore Armenian, but definitely there's an Armenian culture and a way Armenians do things, and it's had a tremendous impact on me. Is there anything coming from your mom's side, the Korean culture, that you're like, yep, that's the Korean culture in me?
I don't know if it's Korean culture or honestly, or just, I mean, we were raised so Americanized, but
And me too. But
yeah,
still,
but
since both my parents were Armenian, there were just things.
right, yeah, and I wonder honestly if it's a Korean thing that, but my mom is loyal to a fault,
Mm.
like, and I find that my brothers and I are the same way, like we're loyal to a fault, and like, I mean, I lost my father 3.5 years ago. He passed away, and so my mother, we moved her. She wanted to live by the cemetery where he was buried, and basically, she lives now to just go memorialize his grave. And so she goes every day
Wow.
to put flowers on his grave, and she talks to him. She, plays the oldies, that like the first song that they ever danced to, she'll play that plus his other favorites, so yeah, it's crazy. So she has no other life other than that now. So I
That's
honestly, culturally though, I don't know about any other things that we might have picked up from her.
when you say she's loyal to a fault, does that mean she's forgives quickly also?
No, she could hold a
Oh.
grudge actually. That woman can hold a grudge in a vault, and man, that thing will come out. It's hilarious. Yeah, and that's a very funny that you bring that up. Yeah.
And what's your wife? What ethnicity is your wife?
She's Caucasian. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was born and raised in San Diego. Yeah. I think they have some, Swedish in the background there, maybe Swedish and some German, something like that. But
Did you serve any time in the military?
I did not. I did
Did not.
not. Yeah,
Did
and
did
that's
your dad want you to?
well, he did not, and that's the thing. That was kind of regret. My father was career military, so I bounced around army bases. Growing up, I mean, I changed high school 6 times. And so my father really really did not want us to go in the army and or go in the service in general, just because he saw it changing from kind of the old guard to the new guard, right? The mentality of the service was changing quite a bit in his eyes, and so he really wanted us to go to college. And so my oldest brother went against his wishes and joined the army, went in
Oh.
for 4 years, to make him proud, and he did. He made my dad proud. And then my middle brother wanted to go in because he wanted to be a pilot, but his eyesight wasn't good enough, and he didn't want to do anything but fly, so he didn't go. And yeah, I went to college. I didn't pursue it, and yeah, but it is a regret because I do wish I served at least a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. So
So it's 3 boys. You're raised with 3 boys.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and and where do you fall? Oldest,
I'm the
youngest?
youngest.
Youngest, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
Um, okay, so the ropes are in the garage and you're making them and you love it, and I'm guessing it had turned almost into an obsession. Any free time you had, TV
yeah.
was out the door. It's just like workout, make sure real estate's doing whatever it needs to do, but then straight to the garage. Ideas are popping through your head throughout the day while you're driving somewhere. You're writing them down and like you're thinking, "Oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. I
Were
should
you
try
following
this."
me? Were you following me?
I
You're like calling it out like exactly.
so you start did it become an obsession?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was just, tinkers galore, how can we make this better? I mean, like we were the first ones to ever put tennis tape wrap around a handle, right? You know how we do that?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
just that's just tennis over grip.
yeah.
And I was in the
Which is
sporting.
incredible stuff. My boys play tennis, and that stuff, I love wrapping their rackets.
It's the best, right?
Yeah,
I
what
mean,
a trippy, product that stuff is.
yeah, it's amazing stuff, and it's the best stuff. And literally, I'm in the store buying. I would go buy like every jump rope of that specific brand that I like the handles, I would just grab whatever they had on the rack, and I think they were like 19.99, and I would just grab them off the rack, 16.99 or 19.99, I can't remember it, and when they came with like a foam sleeve, and the sleeves would always slip off. They weren't glued on or anything. It was just a
Yep.
foam sleeve. They
Yep.
would always come off, and or they would slowly disintegrate over time. So I was walking past the tennis section and just happened to see the tennis grip and thought, oh, that's kind of an interesting thought. Like, let me grab some of that. And they had all these different colors and patterns and things. So yeah, so I took that home, and one tennis, it was overgrip, not the original grip, but the overgrip to kind of make your handle beefier. So one overgrip, if you cut it in half, would wrap two handles. And so I started messing around with that and just thinking like, well, tennis grip is the best grip in the world. I mean, tennis players rely on that for their sport, probably more than any other sport that I can think of, right? So yeah, and that just kind of, it's not only did it work well and felt great in your hands, but then it gave me the opportunity to kind of like accessorize. Oh, you can do pink or purple or, change colors. So we were the first ones to ever do that. And now you'll see that just rampant. If you go on Amazon and look at jump ropes, probably 7 out of 10 have, a tennis wrap over it. And so that's my contribution to the jump rope world. You're welcome.
And this sounds like a very tedious and time-consuming activity, meaning building a jump rope one at a time would make them $500 a pop. I mean, you obviously, I mean, wrapping the handle is like, it takes time. Someone has to sit down, give their undivided attention, and wrap it. And if you have to cut it in half and wrap two handles, and that tape is really weird, right? Because it's kind of unruly because it has that clear plastic on the back. And you have to remember which side you peeled it from. And the whole thing it's like, this is tedious. So you're literally, back in the day, like what would be the most ropes you could make in a day? Like I'm talking like in the early days. Like could you make more than 10 in a day?
Oh no, not even close. Yeah, and the big part of it too is because I had to deconstruct the store-bought rope.
Okay.
And that was a process, unpackaging it, right? And they're always
and all the packaging and unpackaging.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
They're always zip tied in, and so you got to like cut all the zip ties out, and then take the foam sleeve off, and then cut the cord off. Take off the bottom cap and get the hardware out of the inside. Just all the little. I mean, I remember that's.
And you're measuring each rope for each person too, right? So
yeah,
you got to measure it. And
in the early day, I didn't have a good system for that. So I would, we have a refrigerator in our garage, and so I would literally take a spring clamp, and I would go clamp the cable to the handle of our refrigerator along with the measuring tape, and I would back up and figure out the length, 8 feet, 8, 6, whatever, and then I would have to take. They were almost like bolt cutters, right?
Yeah.
Like and then cut the cable and attach it to the handle, and then back then, the little aluminum swage that crimps the cable together, I would just hammer it flat, and it was so crude and rudimentary back then, but I didn't care because it wasn't about a popularity contest or
doing it for time. You weren't doing it for time.
No, just I mean, hey, they were free to the person I was giving them to. They were free, so they appreciated it regardless. So it worked great,
And the internet at that point, was this around 2008?
Yeah.
And the internet was pretty crude then too. Like uploading pictures was always risky because it slowed down websites. Was there a point? Do you remember when you launched your first website?
Actually, we started on Facebook. One of my buddies that I trained with, he was coming in helping me. Young guy that was in the Navy at the time, Joe Craig. He would come in and help me make jump ropes. And his wife, they were over hanging out one time, and his wife said, you should upload some of these on Facebook and see if you can get some attention there. And I had no idea I didn't have a Facebook account back then, so probably right around 2009 or so. So I go, well, if you could show me how to do it, that'd be great. So we did. We took photos and put them on Facebook, and people kind of across the country started seeing them little by little.
The man who shares a bed with the fittest woman in America, Dylan Lowen. Ariel and I met Dave at the West Coast Classic. Great guy. Spent time with Ariel to make her with the jump rope. Oh, that's awesome. So you hung out with Ariel and made her a rope.
Yeah, Dylan and Ariel are awesome. They're super fun to hang out with. Good people.
Awesome
She
people.
crushed it. Actually, Ariel crushed that workout, the double under workout at the West Coast. That was awesome to watch her.
Listen,
Unbroken,
listen to
unbroken in
this.
all
It's
5
not
rounds.
even done. Dave's a great guy. He gave a lot of time of his at the West Coast Classic to help Ariel be a better jump roper. You helped the fittest woman in America be a better jump roper.
Hey, that's that was my pleasure. I'm the one that got the enjoyment out of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, okay. So, when and why did it become a business? What's that look like? Where it's like, okay, like I have to formalize this shit. I got to get like a checking account. I have to stop buying tape one at a time. I have to figure out where I can buy, a mile worth of tape. How did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, sometime around 2009, um, you know, again, like I wasn't charging enough for the people that were asking for them, and so my wife, who was doing the banking, would look at our accounts, and she's like, this is just getting out of hand. Like, so I was starting to make a lot, relatively for the time. I was making a lot, so
All
I
by
remember.
yourself? Every rope was made by Dave Newman?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, like I said, friends would come over, my buddy that I worked out with and my wife, we'd sit on the sofa watching American Idol, back then. And, rap hand. I taught them how to rap handle. So they would help out just kind of as a hobby thing. It was like I wasn't paying anybody back then. It
They
was
got like fed. You fed them dinner.
pretty much. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was super fun. So, yeah, yes. So honestly, the funny thing is the business probably started earlier than we give it credit for. But just because at the beginning, I wasn't incorporated. I wasn't even a sole proprietorship, right? I mean, I was providing a goods, and people were giving me money, giving me cash. So it's probably like an under the table business. So,
Right,
we
you give them the rope, you spent $20 making it, they gave you 20
yeah.
bucks, you put it in your wallet, and next thing you know, you're buying a sandwich and coffee with it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that kinda
yeah,
shit, okay.
yeah. I mean, pretty much. I mean, in the
But
very
someday you
early
must have
days.
come home and there were like 15 20s in your wallet, and you're like, "Whoa, shit."
I
You know what I mean?
don't ever remember that, honestly. I don't
Oh,
remember
okay,
that, but
okay.
that'd be funny. Yeah, I think one of the pivotal, when I look back at one of the pivotal, like the growth was very slow, like the first 6 months to a year, but 2010 is when I don't know if you know who Amick Jones is. Amick Jones used to own CrossFit SoCal down here in San
Yes,
Diego.
yes, he was, the Navy guy.
Yeah, he was a Navy
Yes, yep,
radiologist. Yep,
yep,
Navy
yep,
radiologist.
yep.
And so at the time, and Amick is a real go-getter. He was a full-time Navy radiologist. He ran track in college, and that's where he kind of found CrossFit. I think was in college running track, and then he opened CrossFit SoCal, had a great gym there, and he was also running like a little equipment business. Right, he was like just sourcing dumbbells and kettlebells and barbells from just different outlets, and then packaging them and reselling them online. And Bill Henniger from Rogue met up with him at some point, and they hit it off, and Bill said, hey, why don't you come under the Rogue umbrella, let me absorb you basically, and you come work for me. And Amic's like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. So there he is, good looking guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
Amic's
he was very quiet, he was a man of few words, right?
he's a little bit more of a, I mean, he's super friendly guy, but probably soft spoken, but no, he's, yeah, great
Yeah,
guy.
and I would always, you're right, now that I think about it, wherever, if I was somewhere where Bill Henniger was, Amick was, like, within eyesight. He was
Oh,
somewhere, yeah,
he's like
and he
the
was
right.
always working, he was always doing something.
He's like the hand. If you watch Game of Thrones, Amic's the hand.
Okay, okay, yeah, I
So
remember him very well.
yeah, so Amic was hosting the. Remember, 2010 was the only year that they had sectionals, right? You had to qualify through sectionals to get to regionals, and so
And
Amic's
there
gym
were
was hosting.
shitloads of sectionals, weren't there? There were, like, tons of
Mhm.
them.
All over, yeah, all
Yeah,
over, just for that one year.
yeah.
And so Amic was hosting our local one down here, and I think he hosted for Arizona, because I remember people came over from Arizona as well. And so our gym, a bunch of us went over, Paul, the owner, and a bunch of buddies that we all wanted to compete in it. We went over to just offer to help set up, lend equipment, whatever. And so we met Amic the first day, and so I went home, made him a jump rope. I kind of just sized him up, eyeballed him, came back, and the next day I gave him a jump rope as kind of a gift. And so he pulled it out of the case and started jumping rope with it, or he started doing double unders, and he hit a PR. Like first go at it, he hit a PR. I think he did like 120 something double unders, and he was just like, "This is amazing." He's like, "You need to tell Bill about your ropes." And I didn't know who Bill was. I wasn't super familiar with Rogue, and he's like, "Well, let me talk to Bill about it." And so
That's when
Bill,
he was just the guy that dated Katie. That was before he was the owner of Rogue. That's when his only fame was that
well,
he dated
they were starting to pick up steam. Yeah, it was definitely early days, right? Definitely early days. They weren't as obviously. I'm trying to think of. I mean, to give you an example. So basically, you know, Bill said, "Hey, bring them up to the games. Let's see how the jump ropes sell out of our booth." And so we were invited to go sell ropes out of the booth at the 2010 games, first year in Carson.
Wow.
And you were there, so you remember that
Yeah.
that Vendor
Yeah.
Village was at the top of the tennis stadium, and it was
Yeah.
basically two rows that were just back to back. You know,
Yeah.
probably had 12 or 14 vendors total, and all Rogue had for a tent was like a 10 by, I don't know if it was it was bigger than a 10 by 10, unless they had two of them side by side. It's like a 10 by 20 easy up, and they were only selling T-shirts out of their booth. That's all they were selling, and our jump ropes. And so we thought we were just going to get a free ticket to the games, and like we're going to hand off the ropes and let those guys sell it.
Right.
But they didn't know how to sell it because they were all different size. Like you had to like work with somebody to figure out what they needed.
And by the way,
So
that is the cool thing about your booth. I've been to your booth, you know,
tons of
5
times.
different times at 5 different events over the years, and every time someone's getting tailored ropes to. I mean, you tailored rope for my kids, you tailored a rope for me. I'll never forget in Del Mar. I still have the rope. Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys are all it's like getting a suit made for you, but just a rope.
Yeah, I like that analogy a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. We have to do that. You know, I made one for your mom too. I think does your mom still use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, and my mom has some double unders now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wanna say she got 20 the other day. Crazy, right?
That's amazing. Good
Yeah,
for
and
her.
my mom might be 80.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how old she is.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's amazing. Good
Yep,
for her.
she still CrossFits 3 days a week. Yep, over at, Daniel's gym now, West Fitness. Yep,
Okay. All right. Yeah, give her my best.
I
Yeah,
will.
but we have to do that. You know, we have to work with somebody just to because back then, especially like our ropes, we had to cut them to size. Like they weren't adjustable. Like that's the thing. You know, Bill from Rogue told me, you know, when we first started kind of working together, he said, "Dave, if you make this adjustable, you'll sell a gazillion of these things if you make them adjustable." And I'm like, "Well, everybody else already does that. Like that's nothing new. Everybody does that." And the big problem that I saw was that people don't know how to size themselves. Like they don't have a concept of how to size themselves and understand what good form and technique is, right? It's always based on what feels right. And so, you know, we wanted to try and solve that equation for people. So yeah, and it's fun. Like we love doing it. We love helping people. People get a big kick out of it. And I think we earn, you know, long-term customers, long-term relationships, you know, by doing it that way. So it's definitely a much harder road to go. Like, don't get me wrong. There are times I wish we just, you know, could just hand something over the counter and say,
Right.
"Here you go, have a nice day," you know. But you know, in the long run, you just don't really build connections with people doing it that way. So,
I'll pick us up on the story. I wanna read some of these comments. Uh, uh, even the rope is the best rope on the market. Is he gonna help Haley Adams? Yes, we will get to that. What a great comment. We will get to that. There is a post on his Instagram account where he talks about that, and I feel vindicated by it because for a couple reasons. Because of the we'll get to that. Dave is Dave is the best, and he's a great friend for Overload CrossFit.
John, what's up, buddy?
This guy wants to nominate you as the new CEO of CrossFit. Vindicate VNDK8. Get your CEO t-shirts there. Bought an RXSG rope at the games last year. Only rope I've used ever since. Love it. Geez Louise, RX jump rope was my first rope. I learned double unders on them. I don't know what Chase is saying, but he did something good with the rope at sectionals. Okay, so
Appreciate that.
you you're at the booth that year. It's 2010. It's shirts and ropes. And then what happened as you came out of there?
Yeah. Oh, so that was yeah. So that's really when things kind of took off because yeah, we just crushed it. That was like nobody had ever done that before. I mean, the games were pretty new. That's only the fourth year of the games, and but nobody had ever like coached anybody and then made them a custom rope, and so
Did you sell a lot of ropes there?
we sold out. I mean, we
Oh,
with what, but we didn't bring a lot up, and we probably had a couple hundred units, right? But we were literally sizing people up during the day at the tent. We would size them up. We would go home at night or go to the hotel where I set up kind of just a real rigged up system, and we would make the ropes in the hotel room all night, right? We'd drink beer, make ropes, shoot the shit, and then I had Joe Craig, my workout buddy, and then we'd go back. People would come pick up their rope, and then we would do it all over again, right? We did that for 3 days straight.
dude, now I remember that. I remember when you would have to come back for your rope, and I remember coming back for a couple ropes for me and my wife once. Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they'd be all wrapped up and nice with the rubber band around them.
yeah,
And yes, yes.
yeah. It was super fun. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
memory. So,
Now I remember.
yeah, and then also that's when uh, Bill Grunler, who was a phenomenal athlete, still is a
Legend.
phenomenal athlete, legend.
Legend.
Yep.
Yep.
So Billy and I were buddies because we competed against each other in the early days, in the CrossFit. We're the same age. I'm actually a couple months older than Billy, but he used to kick my ass all over the place.
He's still
And
kicking everyone's ass, dude. He's fucking unbelievable.
yeah, he is. He is. He's timeless. And so I think Bill was might have been commentating. I don't remember if he was commentating that year, but he brought over Justin Judkins. Do you remember Justin?
Yep,
He ran CrossFit Radio.
CrossFit Radio, yep.
So he brought Justin Judkins over to introduce him, and I think we set him up.
He was a wrestling coach. He was a wrestling coach
in Utah.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Great guy. And so Justin had me on his radio show. I don't know if you call it a podcast back then, but
yeah,
his
it was
radio show
before podcasts. Yeah,
exactly. So that was cool. So going to the games, and then meeting everybody there, and there were a lot of foreigners, a lot of Aussies. I remember. So that got us a good foothold. And then when I went on Justin's show, I remember that back in the day, it was crazy. Went on the show, we talked, had a great time. And then right after the show, or as soon as he aired the show, back then I had a BlackBerry, didn't have an iPhone.
Yep, yep.
You and I were talking about iPhones at the beginning. My BlackBerry starts going off with orders. I was getting orders from like Europe, from Sweden and just different places in Europe, Germany. I was like,
so sorry, you kind of lost me there. This is while you're at the games in 2010?
No, after. Sorry, Seth.
Oh, after. Okay,
after the games were over.
Okay.
Yep, and then Justin had me on his radio show.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So being at the games though that year, like we crushed it. So that's when Bill said, "Hey, great, we want to carry your rope on our website." So we were the first kind of independent brand jump rope that Bill started carrying. And actually it's before Rogue even made their own jump rope. So at the time, Rogue was only carrying 2 or 3 real janky jump ropes that they were just ordering from overseas, And so we were the first kind of independent boutique jump rope that they carried. And to this day, like I think we're the longest, we've been on their site now for 15 years. And so that was a nice big step. And then once Justin aired his radio show, CrossFit Radio, a couple months later, that's when we started getting all these orders from overseas, because back then, that's how all the people out of America would learn about CrossFit, is they would just go to his radio show,
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool time. But yeah, so that's kind of what got some more traction.
Chase Ingram, my record with the RX gear is with the RX Gear Evo rope 274. I'm trying to get that elusive 300. And
Yeah.
so at that point, are you like, okay, I need to get a sewing table with a tape measure on it. I need to get something that I can pull down to cut the ropes. I mean, I'm just picturing, were you like, I'm going to have to invest in the shop? Is that when the shop started growing? And did you rent a location at that point, or were you still out of your garage?
Yeah, still out of the garage. Yeah. Yeah, little by little, we were definitely, getting benchtop swagers. Exactly. Right. One that you would bolt to a workbench, and then you could just kind of like pull the lever down. I built my first measuring tray out of PVC. I literally took like a 3-inch round PVC, and I sliced it like a hot dog. So once you flip it open, it looks like, it looks like a hot dog.
Yeah.
And then I took a tape measure, stretched it out, cut it off, tacked it into that PVC pipe, so that I could hook a handle and then just run the cable down and measure it and chop it off. Yeah, so yeah, little by little started kind of automating. I wouldn't say automate it, improving the manual approach to building a rope. So I saved a bunch of that stuff. I'm kind of a idiot for like nostalgia, so I saved, like, I have that original workbench, that original measuring tray and things like that still like in our warehouse. But yeah, so we did that out of the garage. Actually, we kept it in our home for almost 2.5 years. We ran the business out of our home. So literally, like, the garage was the workspace to like build the cables and attach them to the handles. Inside our house, and we don't have a very big house, but inside our house, our front living room, we ripped out the carpets, lined the tables with,
Wow.
plastic table, those Costco fold out tables. And before we left the house, by the time we finally got into a commercial space, 2.5 years later, we had like 10 employees coming into the house every day,
Wow.
building ropes. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Do you
early
have
days
any of
crazy.
your original employees? Are there any original employees who are still with the company?
Yeah, actually I do. I do. Yeah, still with us. Some of them are still with us.
So they know the whole rigmarole. They've seen the evolution. They have like the
Yeah,
historical knowledge and the
yeah,
talent and all that.
yeah, yeah.
Were the grips being sold at that point too?
Nope, nope. Those took kind of like back seat and just focused on jump ropes, because in the early days, Savon, you remember, CrossFit was just growing. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
2010 to 2015, that half decade was just, I mean, for us, it was like, people were like, oh, how long before you were profitable? We were like, today, like the first day. I mean, it was just crazy that we were profitable right away because the growth was so aggressive. And like, we had to keep adding bodies just to try and meet orders because we were
Right.
getting so many orders. It was crazy, which was a detriment at the same time. That's not really, it's a nice problem to have, but I don't consider myself a super smart guy, and I wasn't planning for, well, one day this is going to slow down and we better learn how to market. So now in this kind of second half of our lifespan, we're learning, like, wow, I guess you got to get good at marketing, and go out and find your customers. So yeah, so the early day
And
was,
competitors started coming from everywhere, right?
oh
People
yeah,
saw your success, and so
yeah,
it wasn't their passion. Money was their passion, so they started trying to basically replicate what you were doing.
yeah, yeah, yep, for sure. Yeah, I mean, rightfully so. Like, that's what, competitors are great, because that's what makes us sharper too, right? Like, they always, the whole rising tides, raises all the ships. I mean, competitors started coming in. In fact, even Rogue, right? So that's a funny story, because 6 months after Rogue was carrying our ropes, Rogue social media started teasing out little pictures of like cables, a bunch of cables wrapped up the way we wrap up a jump rope.
I
And
remember that.
remember
I
that?
remember that.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you think we're working on, right? Like little hints and things like that. And then finally let it out that they were coming out with their first, speed rope. And I was really pissed back then. I was
Yeah,
kind of
I could
butthurt.
see that.
Yeah. So I reached out to Bill, and that's why I'm glad, like, that was such a cool learning lesson, is to like calm down, get your panties out of a bunch, right? And then just have an adult conversation. And I reached out to Bill to ask, like, hey, like, what's going on? Looks, I see you guys are making jump ropes now. And Bill's super cool. He's like, yeah, he goes, we found we can make our own rope cheaper than we can just import them, right? If we just build all the tooling and we do the injection molding and do everything ourselves, which is his approach to things, right? Is just build it themselves. He said, but it's nothing like yours. Like, it's a different product than yours, a different type of jump rope. It's kind of just a better version of what they were already selling with their branding on it. And so he goes, yeah, you'll be good. Don't worry about it. And so cool. So, here we are 15 years later, and, now they carry every known brand of jump rope out there,
Right.
as well as like 15 of their own. But yeah, ours still sell well on their site. So it's been a great relationship.
And your relationship, when I think of CrossFit and I think of jump ropes, I mean, your RX Smart Gear is like synonymous with it. Like you're the one. Like I don't think of anyone else.
So you
I just think of you guys. I think of you. I see you. Like if I close my eyes and think jump ropes, it's like you standing in front of a jump rope. I'm like, move, Dave.
You're a sweetheart. Well, you're dating yourself. Savon, you're dating yourself because we figured this out.
Mm-hmm.
It took us a while to figure this out. Yeah, if you've been around the game as long as you have and I
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
like people that have been around for sure, like they're familiar with our brand, whether they use us or not, or like us or not, they're familiar with our brand. But we've gone to the games and we'll encounter people that have been CrossFitting for say within the last 5 years
Right.
and have never heard of us.
Wow.
Never heard of us.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Which it does surprise us. We're like, really? How long have you been CrossFitting? Oh, 5 years. And you've never heard of us, not once. Like, do you like all the top athletes use our stuff,
Yeah.
right? By choice. We don't pay them to use it. We don't sponsor athletes anymore. So everybody you see using a jump rope on the floor, they're doing it because they choose to. And usually people will look at what their idols are using, oh, what grips are they using? What knee sleeves are they using? What jump rope? And they would search out those brands, right? And it's funny, there are people that have still never heard of us. So, the silver lining to that means we still have new customers that we can engage with and hopefully build a relationship with.
Hey, that's what I think too. I think that probably 2% of the people in the podcast or in the CrossFit space have heard of the Sevon podcast. And that really excites me because then I just think, oh shit, that the market's is massive.
Right?
Like, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Great way to look at it.
Yeah,
Great
the
way to look at
potential
it.
is massive. Pretty awesome to hear the winningest CrossFitter of all time, Rich Froning, talk about his favorite jump rope at the 24.2 open workout. I'm proud to point out that we do not pay any athletes to use or promote our products. We love hearing athletes talk about RX gear because we know it's always organic and from the heart. It's a fun conversation on the Rich Froning podcast, number 27. The conversation about jumping ropes is from 1735 to 2135 if you want to give it a listen. I say this with absolute peace and love. You cannot trust a fucking word from 99% of the fucking athletes. They are complete motherfucking sellouts. Now, Sevon, you don't want them to make money? No, make your money. Eat your fucking Mickey D's. Switch from shoe to shoe to shoe. I don't trust a fucking word they say. Nothing. I think that it has gone beyond embarrassing. It has gone in the lack of honesty. Like if they were just to be like, yo, I wear these shoes now and thank you for the money. Bling, bling, motherfucker. That was the greatest thing about Greg Glassman taught me. Don't ever sell what comes out of your mouth. At the end of the day, all you have is your word. So we'll take the Reebok money. We're no fucking way going to not criticize you for the shoe that has the whoop, whoop. We're going to still ass pound you if you make a dumb shoe. You can't. I'll take money from Marlboro Lights. But I will also, I have to also tell you that those will kill you and fuck up your Fran time. And boy,
Yeah.
when I saw that post that you made, I was really excited about it because I hear, man, I'll tell you who's done a great job. So like Daniel Brandon's like loyal to a fault to Rad, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I want to fucking see. Just a complete savage. Like, I ass pounded those guys for something dumb they said, and she's like, fuck you, I ain't coming on your show anymore. And I'm like, atta girl. You know what I mean? They're her fucking sponsor.
Yeah.
And I suspect she probably has equity in the company, but that's, I love seeing that. I just really love seeing that. When did you realize that it wasn't the way to go? And by the way, I think it's a little bit of a mischaracterization to say you don't sponsor athletes, just because everyone knows in the CrossFit space how generous you are to athletes. You are extremely, extremely generous, but you just don't have any. I think a better way to say it is you don't have any contractual obligations with them. Everyone knows the stories in the space of how generous you've been to athletes and what you've done for them.
Appreciate it.
But why don't you do this sign on the dotted line? You better only be seen carrying my rope. And when did you wake up to that?
Probably, actually, oh geez, what are we looking at? 6 or 7 years ago, we had a huge roster. Like we had people on payroll, all the biggest names, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of evolved into that by mistake, just because we already had these relationships, and they were already using our ropes, and we were already coaching them and spending time with them. But then people were getting contracts from other companies, right? Shoe contracts, supplement contracts, apparel contracts. So we just kind of followed suit, right? We felt cheap, like, oh, geez, I feel like we have to do this too. So we started sponsoring athletes, giving me a contract, and of course, with that, it's like, okay, we're going to pay you $300 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, depending on, it was based on your following at the time, and we'd have expectations, right? The deliverables. Right. Hey, you need to make 4 posts a month, and just we figure you've got to be using your jump rope once a week at least if you're warming up or doing a double under workout at least once a week. Yeah. So 4 times a month you can do some kind of shout out of some sort, and it just got to a point where that wasn't happening. The athletes, what we found is athletes don't like to do that. Athletes like to train, right? They want to train, they want to recover, take their supplements. They don't want to promote products, right? Most of them. Some of them are good at it. Some of them know how to do it well. Most of them don't. And so we weren't getting the deliverables, and it was starting to like really sour the relationship, because we're like, oh, geez, we're paying you, and you're not meeting your end of the bargain.
If someone gives you money, you should feel an obligation to give them back more than what they paid for. I mean, like if you're a smart business person, if you're a good person, if you believe in yourself. So like any sponsor who gives me money, it's like, fuck, Paper Street Coffee nonstop 24/7. You know what I mean? Thank you. Love Paper Street Coffee. Get your deal. Yeah. You want them, and they don't think like that. And I'm not saying that that's bad on them. I'm just saying they're not ready for sponsors until they're willing to do that, I think.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Like, hey, I'm taking Dave's hard-earned money. I better sell more than if he makes a $1 per jump rope, I need to sell 500 jump ropes a month if he's giving me $500.
You know what's really interesting? Athletes, I mean, most of the athletes we have relationships with, right?
And they love you. I mean, look at Dylan. People love you to death.
No, I appreciate that. They're awesome, and they're good people. Yeah. But here's what's really, really ironic is that of 15 years of doing this and helping athletes and giving them free gear or coaching them, doing whatever we can do on our end to help. I've gotten one thank you card, and I have that thank you card posted up on my desk, and I don't expect, like you said, I don't expect it in return, right? I shouldn't do it if I'm expecting anything back, right? Like we'll set the ground rules up front. Now we have a marketing team that says, hey, if we're going to give away free stuff to an athlete, give us a shout out, something small in the beginning, and then we don't ask too much from them. And then, anytime we want to, borrow somebody's time or rent somebody's time to do some type of promotion together, then we'll pay them to do that one specific engagement, whatever it might be, right? Right. But otherwise, we don't do contracts. We have no expectations for anybody to shout us out or promote us or do anything like that, right? Because athletes don't want to. They want to work out. We're happy with that. So the one thank you card, can you guess who that is? I have one thank you card. I just told him this too the other weekend when I saw him. I said, you know what?
It was a boy? It was a boy?
It was a boy. And it was the only person that I've ever received a handwritten thank you card that said, Dave, really appreciate, your support, and I really loved getting your packages on my doorstep, yada, yada, yada.
What year is it from? Can you tell me what year?
Crap. Hold on. I can figure this out, because I gotta
I will tell you this. This is the first name that popped in my head, Scott Panchik, but that's not my guess. I need to know the year. Because I could see Josh Everett. I could see, if it's old school, I could see Josh Everett doing it too.
No, those are both great friends. And great humans, but no, it wasn't them. Hold on, let me think. I'm gonna go through the podium list backwards. So Adler was last year. Before that,
I could see Noah Olson. These are great guesses. Someone says James Sprague, another great guess. Noah Olson, great guess.
God, I'm trying to think of his last year on the podium. How long has he been retired? Shit, I just probably gave it away by saying that.
Oh, someone says Ben Smith.
No, Ben's a good dude. Love Ben. Was it 2019? Oh, no, 2020. I think 2020 was the last time he was on the podium.
And there were only 5 dudes at the games in 2020.
There you go. Narrowed it down for you.
So that was either a Sam Quant, a Noah Olson, a Matt Fraser, Noah Olson, Sam Quan. Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you. Let's cheat. Fuck this. Justin Medeiros, Jeff Adler. Was it Fraser?
Yep.
Hey, you know what's crazy is how much stuff he does behind the scenes. I had these dudes on who are spending like life in prison, and they're like, "Yeah, I talk to Matt once a week." I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really cool.
Yeah. 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 Matt's a good dude. He's a good
That's
dude. So
yeah, that's really good.
I
Wow.
respect that. So yeah, it's the only thank you card, which was really nice. But yeah. Anyway, we have a great relationship with the athletes. We like the way it is now. Yeah. You know, not we'll try and financially support athletes that really need financial support if we
Right.
work something out that's mutually beneficial, right? But
Right.
typically, what we like to say is, listen, you just use our stuff, you go train, you be the best you can be on the floor. We'll find ways to promote our relationship, right? Like give us the approval to promote our relationship, right? So that's worked really well, and you know, and I never have to worry if somebody's just using our stuff to collect a paycheck, because there were people in the past that were doing that. They would drop us like a bad habit to go get a better paycheck. So
David, do you have any cool stories where it's like 5 minutes before an event and Patrick Vellner runs up to your booth and he's like, "Dude, Dave, can't find my rope, or my rope snapped, or can you make me rope?" You got any fun
Zach
stories like that?
Carcetti, do you
Zach,
remember Zach Carcetti?
I remember the name. I can't picture the face.
Zach Carcetti was this scrapper athlete that made it to the games. I think he might have gone twice. Gosh, I met Zach through Doug Chapman. I think Zach was at one of his training camps. And Zach's not a big dude. He's not a big dude at all, but just a scrapper, a great athlete. And so, yeah, literally, it was in Madison, and I get a text message. He's like, "Dave, I don't have my rope." Like they brought all the athletes over from their kind of like their locker room area, hangout area, and they took them to the back warm up area of the arena. He's like, "I'm up in the first heat and I don't have my rope, and we have double unders in it." And it was the workout, it was the repeat workout with double unders and thrusters, I think, and they had to go all the way across the floor. Remember,
What
like
year was
10.
that again?
But Zach Carcetti?
No, what year was this event?
Oh, that was probably 2019. I want
Okay.
to say 18 or
Okay.
19 for sure. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
19. And
Okay.
and so
I think I recognize that dude. Yes. Yes.
so
Okay.
there he is right there. Yep. Yeah. So Zach texted me. He's like, "I need a rope," and I said, "What's your size?" And this is the thing. Any athletes that might be listening right now, you should know your rope size like you know your freaking shoe size, right? If you got to go run a 5K at the games, you don't want shoes that are too tight or too floppy, right? You want the shoes that fit you perfectly so you can run fleet-footed.
Right.
Well, same thing with a jump rope. If you should be able to jump with any size rope. Technically, you should be able to jump with just about any size rope, but you should know what is optimal, like what is your ideal optimal length, and commit that to memory. And that's what Zach did. I tell this story when I teach workshops all the time. So Zach texts me. He's like, "We're up in a few minutes. I don't have my rope." I said, "What size are you?" He said, 8'4". Perfect. I'll be right there. So we put together a rope that was identical to what he was used to using,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sprinted for the stadium.
Just
Luckily we
right
had,
there in your booth at the games, the team got together and assembled one.
yeah, I put it together myself. It took 2 minutes, right? Like super fast. Put it together, sprinted to the arena. Luckily, I had tickets to get into the Alliant Energy arena, and so I'm running around the outside concourse, not knowing where to even find him. Right, so I just happened to pick a tunnel, ran through it, ran down the stairs up to the railing, and got lucky because it happened to be like lined up with where they were setting their jump ropes on the floor.
Yeah.
And Zach was like in the center of the floor, like middle aisle, one of the
Did
middle
he have a
lanes.
temporary rope with him?
He borrowed something from somebody. Yeah, he borrowed something from somebody because they were on the floor getting ready to go. So he's literally out there putting his rope down, and he's pretty much the only guy. I remember this like it was yesterday. He was the only guy on the floor. Everybody else already had their ropes lined up, and they had all backed up against the rig. You had to have your hand against the rig to start.
Yeah.
Or against the wall. And so he's literally setting this rope up, and I yell out, "Zach!" And I'm holding this rope, right? And it was all coiled up still, right? And I'm holding it, and And so he's like, he looks at me, he looks at his rope. I think Dave said, athletes 30 seconds, right? He kind of gave him a 30-second warning. And so he chucks that rope in his hands. He chucks it across the floor, sprints over, grabs the rope out of my hand, and then he just kind of like throws it down. He can't even really get it unraveled. He just kind of throws it down,
Yeah.
which that was a big mistake, by the way. So he throws it down, and then he sprints back and he gets against the wall with maybe 10 seconds before it's time to go, right? Can you imagine like your heart, right? You're trying to get ready to go and get focused, and he's like dilly-dallying with all this. And I just remember it was so funny because everybody that was sitting in the stands around where I handed off the rope were looking at me like, well, that was probably important,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
glad he got a rope. So anyways, 3, 2, 1, go. And he runs out. And when he picks up the rope for the first set of double unders, it was still all coiled up. And he made the mistake of, in a panic, he tried to put his foot down in the middle of the rope and just pull up on the handles. You see people do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that put the nastiest kink in the cable, right? That cable just bent up like a paper clip.
Oh shit.
Yeah, which you can't jump with it like that. I mean, it was like a nasty kink. And so he had to unbend it, like grab it real quick, try and unbend the kink, and then he got started. And except for that first round, I think he tripped once on that first round. He went unbroken on all the remaining rounds, and which was phenomenal, right? Because it was like he knew his size and it fit him perfectly. And so so that was the best story to your question.
What a great story. Yeah, and how did he have your number? You just knew him just from the scene?
Yeah, I mean, most of the athletes that we work with have my number, and I coach them, or they'll send me video to critique, or we'll set up like after I'm done with you, I've got a couple of athletes that I'm going to be doing some Zoom sessions with and working with, trying to clean up some techniques. So so most athletes can get a hold of me.
We saw 2 athletes doing this this year at the semifinals, where they had one hand close to them and one hand away from them. They weren't in symmetry. And if anyone wants to see a great video where they not only does Dave point out flaws, but there's these 2 videos where he analyzes Laura Horvat's technique are awesome. I highly recommend everyone watch these. He goes through and breaks down to just the fine minutia of everything she does correct here to be successful at doing double unders, from placement of the rope to how she picks it up to how she first engages it to her arm position, everything. But this thing with Haley Adams, everyone saw. And I remember seeing the ropes that the one-armed guys used. And I remember thinking, wow, they should I think it's functional, and they should make 2-armed people do that too. I always thought it was cool. And all my buddies were shitting on me. They're like, no. But basically, is that how you're explaining what the fix is for, can you go through that? How did Haley Adams get this far with the cockeyed stance? And then can you talk to us about the fix? Did she contact you, or you just made that as a PSA?
No. I've been, so we've known Haley since she was like 14 years old. Like Haley, she reached out when she was a teen athlete and was such a sweetheart. And she's just like, I love your all's jump ropes and I'd love to represent you, so.
Wow. Good impersonation. That was good.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, so we actually started sponsoring Haley, and back then we were sponsoring. That's when we were kind of paying athletes, but with Haley, we treated her differently, right? She was a teen athlete, and we didn't want it to become a job. So we had no, like, with our agreement with her, we had no expectations. Like, no, you didn't have to post for us. Don't do anything. Just go train, have fun.
Yeah.
I knew that the minute it was going to turn into a job where she had to do all these other things outside of just training and recovering, that's going to take a toll on a young person. So we've supported Haley, like I said, since she was like 14 years old. But I've never spent a lot of time coaching Haley. When I met Haley, she was pretty good at double unders. I mean, she could do 200 unbroken. Literally, she was really consistent. And then over the years, though, I did notice she started getting a little bit lopsided, and I don't know why athletes do this. I don't know if they just develop certain tightness in their bodies. I don't really know the answer to that, but I would go visit mayhem twice a year. When I go out to teach at Power Monkey Camp, we would always do a field trip, and I'd go up to Rich's barn and visit with those guys, kind of tune up their ropes, get everybody, cleaned up, and see Haley. And I started noticing a little bit of her imbalance, and I remember bringing it up to her one time too, and she kind of dismissed it at the time because it wasn't an issue back then. At least to her, it wasn't an issue. But and if an athlete doesn't want to be coached, I won't try and coach him. Like I won't get involved, because they got to want to make a change in order to make a change, because it's not going to be comfortable. So Haley thinks it's because she injured her ankle a while back, and she started jumping a little bit lopsided because kind of protecting her ankle, and she thinks that's what led to her arms doing that. So she knew going in, like, it was, she's so self-aware. I mean, for such a young person, she's so mature and she's super self-aware. And she's like, look, I was actually working with her for a little bit before the semifinals, but it was too late to make any big changes. And so she knew she just needed to get through that workout, and it was probably going to be her worst workout. And she was right. Like, she just needed to get through it. And she, considering that flaw, she actually did really well, I thought.
Right.
I stood up on the mezzanine behind her, and I was, videotaping, and so, yeah. So, that's just a funky imbalance. And, a lot of times when people just train with speed ropes all the time, the thin wire rope, and just, they let people get lazy. Your arms just kind of wander where they want to go. And, most people have a dominant arm anyway, one arm that's doing all the turning, the other arm's just kind of posting up and not doing much. We call that the Milli Vanilli syndrome. One hand's singing, the other one's lip syncing.
Uh-huh.
And so, so hers just got really drastic. And so literally, I was just kind of brainstorming and chatting with her coaches, Josh and Haley. And I've known her coach, Haley Murillo, known her for years, because she was a top athlete in Southern California.
Yep,
Was going to regionals every year. Yeah, she was a stud, and is a stud still. Now she's a stud mama. So so I just started brainstorming different ways that we could try and get her to start. I mean, we've made tons of tools. I think we've made more training tools for jump rope than I think any other company, all other companies combined. Let's put it that way. And so, because I always geek out on trying to fix people's problems, and so. This little demo was for a guy in Italy that I'm working with, and he reached out through social media, and he has this weird glitch with one hand when he's rotating the rope. And so I made one of these for Haley and mailed it to her, but he's in Italy, so I just wanted to show him how he could make one himself real easily, so that he could, start training right away. So this was just part of it. I made her some other training tools that she's working with as well, just to try and find balance. It's all just about just creating symmetry and balance, so you have, a clean environment and nice tolerance for the rope to pass your feet and head. So yeah, so this was a fun little thing. So to your point, the funny thing is, that was basically like a homemade mono rope, right, for adaptive athletes.
Yeah.
But I actually made that years ago out of PVC pipe, and I made it years ago. I mean, probably 12, 13 years ago. And I made it to use with two hands, so that people could jump rope, just like I was kind of demonstrating there, but they could literally jump rope with it using two hands. And then you could visually see the imbalance of your hands, right? That bar will be tilting, because one hand's doing all the turning, the other hand's not doing much. And so everything that causes a little bit of a pull on the rope to one side. And so that originally was just a kind of a training tool and teaching tool for people with two hands, and turned out that that was the solution for adaptive athletes as well. So that was kind of blind luck.
I wonder if I know that if someone had one of those mono ropes, and you're an athlete who has both their hands, that it would be good for you neurologically, physically, mentally, I don't know, all that, whatever, you name it, balance, stability, stamina, where all that shit, if you learn how to do it with both your hands.
Sure.
That basically learn how to do that with both your hands. It's like my kids. I teach that we spend time throwing balls right and left-handed on the regular. Like it's just so
That's awesome.
it's so important. Yeah. Or yesterday they were training strike. You know, we hang a little tennis ball in the garage, tie it to the ceiling, and put it on a rubber band in the middle. And they do rounds, 30 seconds with the tennis ball. You know, just tapping it and finesse. And I make them switch stances. Same with baseball. Like especially
Awesome.
my kids who like don't play baseball. Like you got to swing the bat with both hands. You have to. And so
That's
there,
awesome.
yeah, I can't see, and it sounds like a great warm up to me too. I think that there's so much room still in the space for innovation. I noticed that when I've seen Andrew Hiller, these other people now doing these long form pieces that are more intimate with the athletes, I'm kind of surprised at how many of them are limited in their scope of tools that they're using to make themselves better, kind of like their ignorance. Like you'll hear an athlete who's won the games and they still don't really, they haven't learned the fundamentals of snatching or something, or they go to the games,
Right.
maybe not won the games, and you're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like that means they're just going there still on raw talent
Yeah.
and hard work. You know, it's like, wow.
You hit it on the head, and that's the interesting thing. Like there are athletes that I've offered to their coaches, like, hey, I think so and so is leaving some money on the table. They could be much more efficient at their jump rope, and just with their positioning, with their rope sizing. I mean, there's so many things you can do to make yourself better, even if it's just 0.1% better, right?
Right.
And the problem is most of these athletes, there's so many things that they have to be ready for and be good at, that they feel like, you know what, I'm pretty solid with a jump rope. I don't really have any issues with it, like I can go unbroken, no big deal. And so they choose not to spend the time on that per se, right? Like they just don't feel like that's the biggest need or necessity. And they might be right. I mean, I just, all I can do is offer and just say, hey, I noticed something here that I think you can work on, that'll help. And that's why, like, I was just out last week working with Laura Horvath, and Laura is one of those people that absolutely, if she can be a little bit better, then she'll do it, right? Like she'll take the time and listen and practice and try and make herself that much better. And that's why I made that post about her, or actually that post critiquing her technique. She won the Europeans, but I wrote a separate blog article that our ghostwriter kind of changed up. But I wrote a separate article basically breaking down that she beat everybody worldwide at that workout. So her first place finish was better than everybody's first place finish, and so Tia was the closest one to, as far as women go, right, of the women. And so Tia was almost not quite 3 seconds behind her, but 3 seconds is the difference between first place and second place, right?
Yeah.
And so that's one of those things, that and Tia went unbroken, but maybe if Tia's rope was a little bit shorter, she could go a little bit faster, and she would have been 3 seconds faster. You know what I mean? Like there's these little things that just depends on where you want to. Matt Frazier was another one of those guys that I would go spend time with Matt in his garage in Cookeville and work with him, and here he's the best in the world, right? 5-time champion, and he would take the time to listen and apply the techniques and try and get better, right? Even at jump rope. And he was really good at jump rope when I met him, but he got better, so yeah. So I really respect those athletes that, just will turn over every single rock, and try and get better.
Are you gonna have a booth at Dickies?
We are.
You are?
Yes. Yeah. Excited about that. Yeah. I mean, excited and nervous.
Oh, and what are you nervous about? Just as a new location?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the location is going to be great. It's just, hoping that we get the turnout, right? With the games being so fragmented now, with adaptives in one area, or, different event, masters a different event. We don't have that same audience that we were used to seeing, for all the years of the games. You would have masters, teens, and adaptives, as well as individuals, all converge. So when everybody else is done competing, they're all sticking around to watch watch the indies typically, right? And they're shopping. We'd get to see them and spend time with them, and so we're hopeful now. It's only the indies and the teams. We're hoping that CrossFit's marketing well and getting bodies out there. So and it's not cheap. It's to be there for us. Like honestly, we're happy to break even. If we could go and make our money back, we're happy to participate. Like
Right.
for us, that's supporting the event and hopefully meeting new people, touching some lives. But we don't like to go and take a bath. And there have been times in the past where we've gone and taken a bath, on the cost. So hopefully we're hopeful it's going to be a good event.
How is Carson? Did you take a bath there?
Yeah, Carson was bittersweet because we didn't do great there as far as sales go.
And you were in a great spot too.
Loved it.
And by the way, it's a great experience at the RX Smart Gear booth. I'm not just saying that because you're on here. And like anyone who goes there has a great experience. Everyone there's cool. The jump ropes are like candy. People will talk to you. They'll measure you. I mean, you'll feel like you're being treated like a king when you're there.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, great experience.
Yeah, no, you know what? Carson I was so stoked when those guys picked that venue. For us, it's just, a couple hours up the freeway. And, that was where we went to our very first games in 2010. And we went to every single games, that we were there, that it was hosted there. And so, and, nobody really knows why it just didn't have as much traffic. I mean, the guys, they ran a great event.
Great event. The vibe was good. It was so fun. Yeah. What a missed opportunity for any CrossFitter in the area or non-CrossFitter. It was a sweet event.
Yeah. I agree. We don't know if it was just Memorial Weekend and people were off doing other things, but yeah, Dylan and Alex and all the crew from Loud and Live. I mean, they put on an awesome event, and I did not mind not selling as well, up there just because I loved being there and just soaking it all in. And, I got on my one wheel and I rode all around the entire event, like visiting all the places where each year where our booth had been, like, cause every year just had a different story and a different vibe. And just as it grew and grew and grew. So it was really cool for me anyway, for selfish reasons, to go back, loved it.
So you'll be at the games. Anyone can come visit, get your custom rope. And it'll be cool. I hope I go. I hope I get to see you there.
Oh, you better go.
Yeah.
Did you
and my garage is full. By the way, all my kids use your ropes. My wife uses your rope. We have the hanger so that the ropes aren't messy. Yeah. So I appreciate everything you do. And it's fun. It's nice using a really nice rope. It's like one of those. It's really nice.
Yeah, for sure. Did you want to talk about the whole grip debacle? Was that
sure? No, but sure, I'd like to hear about it. The thing is, the grip debacle, I'll lay it out and then you could unfuck it. Basically, there were grips. There's an Alex Smith grip, very popular. Ton of people used it. And you're from a gymnastics background, and gymnasts will have a dowel in there, I guess, their grips to help them stay on, especially like, I guess, on those high bars or the big swing bars. And so you had a stitching in your grip that they thought was so thick that maybe it would give the effects of the dowel. So they banned the Alex Smith grip.
Yeah. Well, you hit it on the head, except I don't think they specifically created that rule because of the Smith grip. I don't think they looked at it and said, oh, that's something that shouldn't be there. I think they just tried to write a blanket rule to prevent anybody from doing something different, right? Like, I think they just didn't want somebody to maybe stitch the grip somewhere else, like maybe in the middle, like where a dowel would be.
Right. Okay.
Right. So they just wrote kind of a blanket, like, hey, you can't have a folded stitch and it can't be double thickness anywhere on the grip. So they're just basically just carte blanche, right? And ours, which these type of grips that Alex Smith designed, right? Like these have been this style where you don't connect your fingers, right? You just kind of flap it over a bar.
Yeah.
Alec was the first one to design those, and we were the first ones to have those on the market, and they've been in the games longer than any other grip of its type. And then all of a sudden, in fact, Laura uses these grips, right? So she's been on the podium last 3 years in a row using these grips. And then all of a sudden this year, hey, you can't use those grips, right? So that was quite shocking, quite surprising. And even after we explained that this provides, that little stitch seam provides no benefit. And in fact, if you tried to put your hand on that part of the grip, it actually makes it worse. You actually can't hang onto the bar.
Makes it thicker.
Makes it thicker. Yeah, it just doesn't work properly, right? So we put it on there because it looks like a finished product, right?
Yeah,
like,
it looks good. It looks good.
It looks nice. Every other grip, they look like this. They look like, an afterthought. We just cut it out and send them out, ship them out. And I just thought that looks kind of crappy. So we finished it, but it does serve a functional purpose. Like, when you go to jump on the bar, you got to kind of pinch the grip like this, because you want to, I got a piece of PVC. You want to throw the grip over the bar, right? And so when you do it, it helps these little wings that we put in here. It just makes it a little bit more rigid. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah, a little more rigid. So then also, as soon as you throw it over the bar, like, our hope is that you never want the grip to double back and get stuck under your palm. You don't want that to happen, because that's when people get locked on the bar and their wrist will get stuck on top of the bar, like if they're doing a bar muscle up. So when they go below the bar, their wrist will be hung up and they can really injure the wrist. So so this is hopefully a little heavier, so it'll kind of like hang away from the bar and just be a little bit safer.
You don't want it to go under and cinch it tight.
Yep,
because you want it to do this. Okay.
Yeah, so it's really a safety feature, as well as it just looks nicer, and it gives that little rigidity to kind of pinch it and throw it over. But I talked with Boz and with Castro about it, and so for this season they said, well, we're not going to change it this season, but they said that we could bring it back up and discuss it as soon as the season's over. And I'm hoping that we can get them to change the wording, because to me that's just I get the intention, and it's well intentioned, but very poorly executed, right? Because every other semifinal got to use their grips unhindered, right? And then all of a sudden, it's this very last semifinal, and now they're being told, hey, by the way, that doesn't work, right? So there's a huge.
What caused it?
So basically, Jorge Fernandez was the first person that got flagged for it. So when they were staged up, back in the warm-up area, and they get staged up to march onto the floor, they have an equipment person walking down the line checking everybody's equipment, and had him turn his palm over, and she saw the stitching, and this one judge or equipment person knew the rules. I guess nobody else knew the rules, but one person did, and said, hey, technically you can't use those because you can't have a folded stitch. And but that person said, go ahead, you can use them for that first event with all the toes to bar, right? The toes to bar. So they let him use it for that workout, but then after that, they said you can't use them now. So you got to either cut off the top or cut out the stitching or do something like that, right? So Danielle Brandon had to cut hers. Ben Smith had to, there were several athletes that just didn't use them. They went out without them for the last workout.
But is this rule new, or has the rule always been there and finally a judge saw it and didn't like it?
No, I think the rule was put in for this year. That's why none of us caught it.
So what was originally the reason for putting it in?
Well,
why would they add that rule this year, even before seeing Jorge's grip? Do we know?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if they caught somebody perhaps that did try and game it and put a stitch in there, right? Well, here's the crazy thing, Savan. What they're trying to prevent is an unfair advantage, and you can't have a dowel effect. We don't want anybody to tweak their grip to make a dowel effect, right? So here's the thing. Traditional grips, right? Any grip that you connect your fingers to, any grip. The minute you put your fingers in the grip and the grip is connected to your wrist, when you're connected in two places on the grip, the minute you grab the bar, you have extra material. The extra material has to go somewhere, right? That's just, it is what it is. So when you grab a bar with any grip that your fingers are connected to, guess what you're going to have?
So you can get the dowel effect from the extra material.
You're going to have a fold, and the fold provides a dowel effect, and that's legal. Like, you're allowed to wear fingered grips. So there's no rule in the rule book that says you can't put your fingers in the hole. You have to just slap it over, right? So So that's a big inconsistency, and that's something I have a problem with. So by the way, that's why this is the new, if I throw a plug in, Alex Smith 3-finger grip. So we're coming out with these shortly.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are cool.
Yeah, those would be cool. So that, that's the thing, is that the rules are just not being evenly applied across the board. The other issue is that there are a lot of synthetic materials out there that grip companies are using, and those, like, if it's black, it's kind of like a vinyl or a rubber or something other than like a leather or suede. Some of those materials are so sticky on a bar, right? Like if you throw them over a bar, it doesn't budge, right? And so there's a big, discussion, a lot of chatter kind of in the fitness world, in the CrossFit world, is number one, is that ideal? Does that make it better? Like the fact that you're getting more help and you don't have to rely on your own grip strength, is that making you a better athlete, right? So that's one topic discussion point. The other thing is, if you just read the rule book exactly how it's written now, the one that disallows our grips,
Yeah,
it specifically says you cannot have grips that assist you in holding onto the bar, and you can't have a grip where the surface is tacky or sticky.
okay.
So none of those grips are disallowed. Like every one of those grips that they're even promoted, you can go look at these different like commercials and videos, and it says these grips are so sticky you can hang on for more reps, right? Like,
Oh, there is. I don't want to say the grip name because I don't want to
yeah, I mean,
be
there's a
mean
lot
to
of
them.
them.
But there is an argument out there going around about a very certain grip that's pretty popular right now that and that people are suggesting is actually injuring athletes' wrists. Could that be
Yeah,
why? Because they're sticking?
I've seen the video. Yeah, I've seen the videos. Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
and first the injuries a couple of injuries popped up and no one was saying anything and attributing it to other stuff. And then all of a sudden, and then the thing is also is Andrew Hiller pointed out to me that some of those athletes that are sponsored by that grip are actually not wearing that grip anymore. And that's what made him go, oh, that's weird. They're
yeah.
not wearing that
So,
grip anymore and injuries are happening from it.
yeah, that's happened. So in all fairness, I know exactly the grip, the brand you're talking about, but here's the thing. In all fairness, we don't know if those injuries were caused because the grips were too sticky.
Right.
My point about the stickiness is just that it violates the rules. As the rules are written, if they're going to take the Smith grip with the fold and say, hey, you've got a fold in it and it's stitched, you can't have that, then these other grips that are tacky or sticky, the rule says exactly that. The grip cannot be tacky or sticky or cannot assist you in hanging onto the bar. Well,
Right.
that's tough to judge because all grips do. Like even these grips help you hang onto the bar longer than if you didn't have the grips, right? Because they protect you from tearing. If you don't tear, you can hang onto the bar longer. So
Right.
just by nature of having a grip, it helps you hang onto the bar longer. So that's such a vague rule to have. But the people that were getting injured, what I don't know, that's why I don't want to, I'm not throwing any company under the bus. I'm just really drawing parallels with the way the rules are written and what else is out there. And this grip seems to be the only one that's being called into question, is that, we talked about the grip lockup, where if the grip wraps around and gets stuck under itself like that,
Yeah.
that's how you can injure your wrist. So, I know that can happen. That can even happen with our grips because athletes always want to missize these type of grips. The grips
Yeah.
that you don't connect your fingers on and you just throw it over the bar like that.
Yeah.
A lot of athletes, you'll see them when they're on the bar, this edge will be down to their forearm. It'll be way down here, way too long. So when athletes are open their palm up with the grips, they want to see the grips all the way up to their or past their fingertips, right? And when you have a long grip like that, and especially a grip that doesn't have a stitched edge, those are the ingredients for that lockup to happen, right?
Yeah.
So it can happen. It's happened with our grip. People have like missized because they always felt like they need a longer grip. They weren't used to seeing a grip stop halfway up their fingers, but this is the way it should be.
Hey,
Properly sized grips.
did they outlaw the long grip because they didn't want people using it as a dowel?
I'm not sure why they outlawed that. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know
Hey,
why they outlawed that.
what about oh, if I'm going to like if I'm somewhere and I've never used grips, but if I'm gonna go somewhere, Dave, and I'm gonna climb something, whether it be a steel pole or a rope, and I want stickiness, you know what I do?
What's that?
Haktui.
Spit on it. Haktua.
Yeah, haktui. Yeah,
Talk
yeah,
to him.
buddy. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What are you
Be
laughing at?
careful. Be careful. You're gonna go viral.
What are you
Next
laughing
thing
at?
you know, you're gonna be up on a concert stage with a music star.
I mean, literally, I'll be in front of a big, massive pole, buddy, and I can't get any purchase on it. And if I give it a hot tui, I can get all the purchase I want. I taught my kids that. Some people think that's immoral.
No, not at all.
Nothing like
do it on their
nothing like
grips.
some saliva.
CrossFitters will do it on their grips, right? CrossFitters will.
Oh, they
spit on
will.
their
They'll
grips.
spit on their grips too. Wow.
Spit and chalk
What
it
is
up.
it about saliva?
Well, I mean, spit is sticky, right? Like spit.
Yeah, but
makes things sticky.
what's weird is there's two uses I have for it: climbing poles and then some other uses. And one of them's for lube and one of them's for stickiness. It's weird. It's like so multifunctional. Does the stick make things more sticky? Yes. Does it lube things up? Yes.
Yeah.
Whoa, what a remarkable product. Maybe you should bottle that and sell it. Hawk Tui.
Hawk Tui. Yeah, I think when
Get your RX Hawk Tui tube now.
When you spit on your grips or hands and then you add chalk to it, I think that that mixture definitely makes it more more tacky for sure. So yeah. So
I'm glad I was able to work that into the show. Whew.
Yeah, that was a pretty good segue actually.
Thank you.
Great segue.
All right, buddy. Hey, great having you on. I can't
Appreciate
believe it's been this long. You have a great face to see everywhere I go. You're a great man. I'm
Likewise.
always glad to. You're one of the reasons why it's fun being in this space, in this ecosystem. So thank you.
Oh, likewise, man. Appreciate it very much. Love what you're doing too.
Thank you, and hopefully I see you at the games. Hopefully.
Well, why? Hopefully, why aren't you going? Why do you not know?
I did because it's I like you. I don't want to take a bath. I need to make sure that it's a new venue. There's always new people coming there who are in charge, and so I got to make sure I jump through the right hoops to get the access I can get. And so if I can get that, then I'll be there and contributing at the highest level. So,
well, I look forward to that. We shall see without you.
Thanks, dude. All right, have a good day.
You too.
Dave Newman, CEO of RX Smart Gear. Hawk Tui. Damn. Every time I open this, some liquid squirts out on my because I go for the sound effect. Some splatters on my keyboard.
Then you just have BitAid dried up on your keyboard.
Guys, we're supposed to have a QR code here that gets you guys 40% off. We're lagging. It'll be here tomorrow, I hope, or the next day, God, I'm gonna end up. Sevon is loving his Fit Aid. Oh yeah, there you go, dude. You don't even know how much. Like this is gonna be a crazy 2 months of Fit Aid.
That's all you're gonna be drinking.
I finished every morning. I have a dilute. I put a shot of Paper Street espresso in here, and then I fill the rest up with water, so it's pretty diluted. But I've been hanging with the Aaron, the CEO over there at Fit Aid, and it's like, dude, God, and this is even grapefruit. I'm not even a fan of grapefruit, and I'm enjoying this. I'm just a sucker for the word creatine. As much creatine as an 8-ounce steak.
I need 2 of them then.
I told they're gonna send out Taylor a shitload. Sevi, the RX Fit Aid Apple is the bomb. You know what? I like so many people I know now are drinking like Ghosts and C4s and shit. Those are so sweet for me. And I think the Fit Aid has kind of gone that way too, right? The Apple's super duper, like it tastes like one of those. I like the original. Like I like that. You know how Red Bull tastes like cough syrup? It's like not even good. I like that about the original Fit Aid. It's kind of got like Robitussin.
Robitussin.
I'm drinking the Tussin.
Yeah, the ones they come out with these days are just so.
All the energy drinks are wild. It's like you're drinking bubble gum. Yeah.
Yeah. Like even the Sour Patch, like obviously the Sour Patch Kids ones are like super sour, but even the ones that aren't Sour Patch Kid are pretty sour.
It's crazy. I don't even know where to buy Fit Aid anymore. We'll have a code up here really soon, and you can just order it and get 40% off, which is just nuts. I can't even believe they're actually doing that for the show.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Oh, you're at the Shadigan.
I am. I had a quick set it up. All my stuff this morning.
A quick set it up.
Quick set it up.
I thought of something that I thought was pretty clever yesterday.
What's that?
I don't know if I'm going to be able to say it right, but let's say you think Donald Trump is a racist piece of shit.
Okay, let's say that.
Let's say you think that. But one thing he does not do under any circumstance is demand that blacks, browns, cripples, gays, he does not demand that any of them play the victim. He does not demand that any of them play the victim, and he doesn't feel sorry for you. He does not demand you play the victim. And that,
Sure.
and then, okay. And so let's say best case scenario, Joe Biden feels pity and sorry for you. If you're black, brown, other, crippled, whatever, gay, he feels sorry for you. And he demands you play the victim and take and stay on the plantation and be limited at your ability to be free and enjoy yourself. That's like sorry, not enjoy yourself, and to grow. That is, so that's your best case scenario. You can be with a guy, you can go for a guy that feels sorry and pity for you, and then demands you live up to that expectation. Or it can be the guy who hates you and demands nothing from you except for you to believe in yourself. Like, he still believes in you, even though he hates you. He still believes in you. I always like someone who's threatened by you. That means they believe in you. But by the way, that I also don't think those are the choices. I think that's like worst possible scenario if you vote Republican, if you're black, brown, or gay, and best case scenario if you're Democrat and you vote Democrat. But the truth is probably Trump absolutely does not hate anyone based on their color of their skin, like or dislike, or make any association based on color of skin, and he completely fucking believes in you. That's probably what we're dealing with. I just keep seeing all of this demanding from the left that people play the victim role. It's fucking crazy. You know, if someone feels sorry for you, you'll live up to it. You know what I mean? If someone starts giving you sympathy, you'll fall into the role.
Right. It's like, woe is me. I can't do it.
Say that again.
It's like, woe is me. I can't do it. I've never.
Yeah. Hey, don't
worry
like,
about
hey,
it.
don't. Yeah. Hey, I know you're dumb. I know you're illiterate. I know you're not capable. I know your upbringing was hard. Like, they give you a narrative that you can kind of feel safe and protected. And don't worry, I'll give you, here's your bread. Here's your government bread.
I'll hold your hand through everything.
Yeah.
They'll give you anything that you need.
Host of the BET Awards went on a Biden rant. Yeah, it's modern day slavery. It's exactly what it is. It's crazy. It's total modern day slavery. I'd like to hear the rant.
Yeah, I think I was just watching a video of like an uncut interview with Trump while he was in president with 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
And he was telling the I think Leslie is her, I can't remember her name.
Yeah, Leslie Stahl. Yep.
Leslie Stahl. And they cut out this part where he was like, like the media.
I saw that too. 60 Minutes completely fucking fucked
They
him.
just cut out like the best part where it was like, hey, like the media, you have a fiduciary duty in the media to as press to like talk about everything, investigate any thread that's possible, like whether it's Hunter Biden's laptop or whether it's a Russian collusion. Just investigate it, report on it, do something about it.
Yeah.
But at that point, he was telling him, like, you guys are not doing your duty. Like, people look at you poorly. And she's like, no, you're just saying that. You're just like, and he was like giving her an out. Like, you guys, he's telling her that you can fix whatever it is that your problem is, but they just refuse to. And I like 60 Minutes every once in a while, like they do a pretty good job of like asking some questions that some other people wouldn't. But
when they
man,
came out and filmed with
that's
Greg, I found out right away they're complete pieces of shit. I
really,
can't tell you. Unfortunately, I can't tell you what I saw. Complete pieces of shit. Complete doctored. It's so fucking bad.
after watching that clip, I can see it. They just I realize how much goes into the post production of interviews like that. Like there was a full blown 3-minute segment of them just talking and never made it into the actual episode. Which I understand. You got like an hour, you got to fill or whatever, but like there's some very interesting and poignant conversations that they had that were not even broadcast.
Pat Lang said, "Give me one example of staying on the plantation." So I'm going to give you just one, and then Pat, I'm going to give you one, and then I want you to go out and DM me 20. I want you to. Is that a deal? I'll give you one. I might even have it here in my notes. Let me see. Let me see if this is it. Let me see. I'll give you one. Hold on. I'm going to see if I actually have the.
I found Travis sent that clip over of the BET Awards if you want me to play it too.
I can't find the exact. Maybe is it a climate change one? Anything where they blame they're saying the stresses of racism are what causes the increase in heart attacks in Black people, or the climate change stresses Black people out, and so they that causes them more injury or illness. Anything where you're giving the power away, anywhere. Oh, maybe I even posted it. Anywhere that they ask you to give the power away that's so obviously in your own control, even if it's true or not true, is asking you to stay on the plantation. You may not even be able to understand that. I don't know. I'm not trying to even be a dick. You may not be capable because of your strong biases to even understand that. But they're just demanding you stay on the plantation. They demand you play the victim to keep you on the plantation. Let me see. Oh, maybe here it is. No, not that. Let me see. I want to find you a good one. Yeah, anytime you blame anything on some outside anytime you blame anything on something outside of you for something that's totally within your control, and you're preaching that to a group of people, you're keeping them on the plantation. Yeah, how the TV, yes, Greg C, thank you. Annette Rivas is mentioning how the TV told her about racism. Yeah, or Xavier, how about Xavier over there at PragerU, the Black guy? He was a CrossFitter from CrossFit Livermore. He's been on this show. He said he believed what the TV was telling him about cops until one day he woke up and he's like, wow, I'm not the victim. But here's the thing, even if you were, you still don't give it away if it's still within your control. No, I didn't think you understood it. Dude, you ask everyone in this podcast to give their power away all month long with the pride victimization. No, there's no pride victimization. It's actually the exact opposite. I don't think you understand. Well, let me rephrase that. I know you don't understand. It's very simple, though. Everyone else in the chat understands it. Dude, you're stumbling and humbling all over the place with this. That example is weak. I gave you 5 examples. Dennis Prager didn't do CrossFit. That guy who's on PragerU, who's a
Xavier DeRusso.
yeah, Xavier DeRusso. Thank you, Caleb. He's a big contributor over there. I can't. I don't know if I can. I don't. I'm not going to play that on the air. Thank you, Travis. Though I'll play that. I'll play that later. I was thinking, why don't they just replace Kamala? Because Biden might not make it through the presidency. People are saying like I'm hearing like he has 4 months of life left in him. Why not just replace? Yeah, why not just replace? But someone was at my house the other day who has a relative who has dementia, and they're like, dude, that's exactly what my dad is like. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Pretty close to how my grandpa was like too.
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess there's reports coming out that they knew in 2016 when he ran, and there were family members of Joe Biden who are already like, hey, this is completely fucked to have him run for president.
Yeah, it's a little like whatever that word is, like torturous.
No, here's the thing. I see it very clearly. Blacks are definitely made to play the victim. Hard stop. And so is everyone here when it comes to pride and being white. No, dude, it's not there. It's nothing like that. You're making a leap. No one's suggesting that it's bad being white. No one's suggesting it's bad being black. People are just, there's some examples being given of the script being flipped, making quotas based on hiring. No one's feeling bad. No one's playing the victim. Everyone still knows it's within their control. It doesn't make it wrong to point it out by saying, "Oh my God, it's raining so hard today." That's not complaining. That's not complaining that it's raining. That's just it's raining. You're jumping to that conclusion, dude.
Projecting your own insecurities.
Yeah, thank you. Projecting your own insecurities. I'm going to go with that. Defensiveness, maybe even. Maybe you're gay and you're feeling defensive. No one has anything against gay people here. Apparently his advisors didn't tell him he'd be on split screen, so he wasn't even aware how bad he looked during the Trump's talking. He's surrounded by his own cruel echo chamber. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't even make sense, right? CrossFit, like, of course you're going to be on split screen. Like, that's the whole thing. We're watching subtleties and reactions and nuances. I still don't know why Woodland didn't get the gig, Mr. Dan. I still don't know. I haven't heard. All right. Yesterday we launched the film contest. If you want to know the rules or the lack of rules or whatever, watch the video. The video is out. But in a nutshell, don't be stupid. Find someone to enter. If you own an affiliate, find someone to make videos for you from your affiliate. It's 5 videos, 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Be creative. Okay. Do I have anything else I want to share? Let me see. What is this? Diet. Oh, did you see the police officer who did you see the police officer get in trouble for being in an OnlyFans skit?
No.
What I eat in a day as a fat person on a weight loss journey. I have my water. That's what I drink.
She said she had her water, but it was orange, so it clearly wasn't water.
It's
And
a Nalgene. The Nalgene is orange.
what's Nalgene?
It's just a plastic water bottle.
Oh, so you think there was water in there?
Yeah, I just think
Oh.
it was orange clear Nalgene.
These are Starbucks bacon Greers.
Drink throughout the day. Then I had my egg white egg bites from work. And
Look how that bowl just rests. That's like some Jabba the Hutt shit. Isn't that crazy? That pose is crazy. That pose is amazing, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Dude, I used to work with this guy, and on his belly, he would rest his iPad like this.
No way.
Yeah, like in the wedge. It's crazy. This is such a
here I had a serving of vanilla ice cream and a serving of Father's Day cake. It was amazing. Highlight of the day. Then I got this Oikos S'mores remix. These are delicious. Highly recommend trying them. And then I had these protein chicken nuggets, like extra high protein, and then a serving of mac and cheese. Those were amazing. And then I had
She's on a diet and she has yogurt and Skittles. Is that what that is?
this protein yogurt with some M&Ms in it.
M&Ms.
Highly recommend. Then I had
shit.
some Cocoa Crisps with like the high protein milk. Absolutely
yeah.
delicious. And this was my protein shake. End of the day, about 2,000 calories and 100 grams of protein.
2,000 calories?
I mean, that's what you're supposed to have. 2,000 calories.
There's
a day.
no way that's 2,000 calories, dude.
What I eat in a day as a
I
fat
think you're right
person
about that
on a
analogy now. Damn. I don't think that's actually just water.
Yeah, I don't think that's water either.
think
I'm gonna
you're
give her. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give her 50 calories on the drink, and then I'm gonna check bacon, Gruyere calories, Starbucks. Let me see how many.
God, she looks like a troll.
Those are let me see calorie. It says it's 300 calories per serving. I wonder if each of those. How many servings are there? Calorie, protein. It doesn't say. It says it's 300 calories per serving, but it doesn't tell. Oh, one serving. Okay, it shows one serving is 2. Okay, well, I'll give her that. So that's 300 calories in those. Okay.
weight loss journey. I had my water. That's what I drank throughout the day. Then I had my egg white egg bites from work. And here I had a serving of vanilla ice cream and a
Serving of vanilla ice cream. Calories in serving of vanilla ice cream. Wow, it says only 137 calories. Okay. So let's just double that because it's that and a piece of cake.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll go another 300. Okay. So now we're at 650.
serving of Father's Day cake. It was amazing. Highlight of the day. Then I got this
S'mores Okio yogurt. S'mores Ioki yogurt. I wonder if she had it says it's 120 calories. I wonder how many servings are in there.
Should just be one serving. It's like an individual serving.
Okay. Okay. We'll give her 120 for that. All right.
Oikos S'mores remix. These are delicious. Highly recommend trying them. And then I had these protein chicken nuggets, like extra high
Protein chicken nuggets. Huh?
Protein chicken nuggets. Calories. Let me see. Calories. She had 6 on the plate. So
160 calories.
For how many? For 4?
For first 8 of them, it's 160. For about 8 chicken nuggets, it's 160 calories.
Wow. Okay. And then a serving of macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. Let's see.
Mac and cheese calories. 310 for a cup.
Sure.
Okay.
protein, and then a serving of mac and cheese. Those were amazing. And then I had this protein yogurt with some M&Ms in it.
So let's say that protein yogurt again was 120 plus M&Ms calories. I think she might be right. I think we're going to be close. Calories M&M 3.14 ounce bag contains 210 calories. Damn, that's a lot of sugar. 30 grams of sugar. Okay.
Highly recommend. Then I had some Cocoa Crisps with like the high protein.
Bowl of Cocoa Crisps. Calories.
She needs real food so bad.
That's 330 calories with the milk. Okay.
Milk, absolutely delicious. And this was my protein shake. End of the day, about 2,000 calories.
How much for the protein shake? 150. It could be 500 though too, right? Let's say 150. Let's be nice to her.
Yeah, okay. So 500 seems like a lot for a protein shake.
Okay, so that's 0. Carry down 5, 6, 7 plus 6 is 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 25. Carry the 2. That's a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Damn. I got 2,050 calories.
And 100 grams of protein. What I eat.
I stand corrected. You're on your way, girl. My bad. You've been vindicated.
God, she needs like some chicken breast, some rice or something. Maybe a banana.
I pray for her plumbing.
It's going to be so backed up. That's insane.
Oh, really? You think this is true, Wayne? Giving benefit of the doubt, 2,000 is still above her BMR? Really?
Yeah, that's probably true. Probably
I mean,
sits at like 17, 1800.
I gotta assume I eat more than 2,000 calories a day.
Yeah, but you train a couple times a day.
I guess, and I'm always moving. But she works at Starbucks. That means she's always got to be moving too, right?
Yeah, if she works a full shift.
Man. All right. Here, let's end on a, so that's positive. That's good. Good job, girl. Good job. This is look at this. This is great. I feel so bad for this cop. Look at this. Police officer arrested for groping woman's breast while on duty.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD. Got you going 65 and I'm 45 back there, okay?
What if I show you these?
So I can see tips on the internet anytime.
Oh, what if you touch them?
Oh, no.
Yeah, that makes it feel better. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go with the warning. Just next time, slow it down for me, all right? You have a good night.
Thanks.
What the fuck?
Police now say Sean Herman was on the clock working when he took part in that video. News Channel 5 investigative reporter Levi Ismail first broke this story. I know you just got off the phone with police. What are they saying?
Well, we now know that Metro Nashville police continued their investigation even after they fired Herman last month. Metro police say Herman was on duty when he took part in the OnlyFans video where he groped a woman's breasts on camera. Police arrested Herman this morning, more than a month later, on 2 counts of felony official misconduct. They say Herman was in the Madison area to film this video, which was the same precinct he covered as a patrol officer. We now know the couple in the video organized this stunt with Herman, but in the weeks since, they reached out to say Herman was the one who asked to do the stunt. In the video, Herman identifies himself as, quote, Officer Johnson before being invited to reach for the woman's breasts. We see his shoulder for a brief moment, which had what appeared to be the...
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Officer Jones, MPD. Got you going 65 and I'm 45 back there, okay?
What if I show you these?
So I can see tips on the
Jesus
internet anytime.
Christ.
Oh, what if you touch them?
Yeah, that makes it feel better. All right.
Oh,
I'll let
did
you
he
go with the
adjust
warning.
his dick there?
Big
He
time.
He adjusts his dick. That's great.
That's why they blurred it out.
Slow down for me, all right? You have a good night.
Thanks.
Police now say Sean
Oh man.
Why do you think that why do you think that they had why couldn't they just be like, yeah, why did they have to say it was his idea? Like, why do you think that those two are being charged too?
I don't know. I mean, if it's for her OnlyFans, it's like her business.
God, so what a dipshit. If he would have just covered up his Nashville Metro badge.
Just not been on duty when he did it. You know?
Yeah, I guess that too, right? Like, damn. Because basically he's using tax dollars shit, right? Like he used our gas, our car, our
Right. Like you can
Oh God.
probably be just fine doing it without being on duty.
Ma'am, I can see tits anytime on the internet.
That was a good comeback.
Hey, is that illegal? What's the legality of that if a cop pulls you over to show him your tits?
I don't think that's illegal.
If an officer pulled you over and you're like, hey, and you pull down your pants, you're like, look at my dick. Is that indecent exposure?
Oh,
Does that even exist in California?
I don't know, but that would be indecent exposure for sure.
It's considered a bribe.
You're not receiving anything though.
Hey, I want to show you my tits. Just cut. What if you're just like, hey, I know you're a professional. What do you think of my tits?
Isn't nice? The poor guy. Just trying to do his job.
I'm not trying to get out of this ticket, but look at my titties. Put it away, ma'am. Put them away. Receiving a tit in your hand.
True.
Someone is so aroused.
Sevon is so aroused.
All right. Monday. Oh, I guess there'll be a Dave Castro Weekend Review today. Let me see if there's anything.
God damn, meat and fruit.
Hey, did you drag that over in the GUI?
What?
Did you drag that over in the
Oh, in the Roadcaster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You pulled up the GUI and just downloaded the audio file and dragged it in there?
Yeah.
You know how to do that? That's so good. God, that's so good. I fucked up on my GUI. I wonder if I can do this while I'm live on the air.
Oh, thanks, CrossFit. I didn't know what that meant.
I lost my Sevon. Kill Taylor intro to final. Is this? I wonder if this is like version 2. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
It's working?
Yep.
Can you hear that? Intro to Kill Taylor. Our first victim. I lost the Sevon pot. I wonder what I lost. I accidentally recorded over the Sevon podcast one. Let me see. A behind the scenes clip, screenshot, recents, applications, downloads, Kill Taylor intro, audio. Start listening to Apple Music. Oh yeah, there it is. Shit. Okay, and then I'm gonna drag this over to. I thought I lost this. I hope it's right. I hope I did it right.
It's a Seb on Podcast Show. It's a Seb on Podcast Show.
Okay, that's good. And then I hope I got the remix to that. Okay. Back in the game. And then you put the poop in there. I wonder if I have the poop?
I sent the audio file to you.
Oh, where did you send it?
To the group chat with you, Susan, and I.
Oh, it's weird. It didn't pop up on my computer. Oh, audio message from Taylor Self. That one.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good. Oh shit, where's the GUI for that? He'll forever live in
God damn, meat and fruit.
Oh my god. It's so gnarly.
I think that's authentic.
Yeah. It absolutely is. If you're eating meat and fruit, that's it regularly. Your shits are nasty, dude. It's like death coming out of your butthole.
Wow.
So
wow. Are you looking at our thread? Look at the last.
Oh my god. Oh jeez. Oh my god. It's just getting crazy this morning.
Hey, so Dave's YouTube shows with the athletes are now on CrossFit's iTunes podcast station. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, I think they're just uploading the audio to they're just taking his audio and putting on the CrossFit.
So you could just listen to them now too.
Yeah, but why would I care to listen to it when I can see Brookwell's face on my screen?
That's a fair point. That's solid. I invited I DM'd Jack Rosema today.
Oh.
I need to start. So let me just ask you this really quick.
Mm.
And then we'll go. I'm looking at the CrossFit Games. Games leaderboard. And I want to invite all these people on. And I'm just starting at the top, right? And I look at this guy. The guy at the very top, his name is Ilya Makarov.
Nope.
Yeah, like I went to his Instagram account and there's nothing. I think there's no signs of English.
Too bad, so sad.
Oh, I invited Jason Hopper on too because I don't know who these other dudes are. I want to invite them on, but what if they don't speak English? Does this dude speak English? Kalen Souza?
Shit, dude, I don't know.
Bruno Marins? Sevon, I think we should find a porn star who does CrossFit and have them on. You know who I invited on the other day? There's this chick on OnlyFans who's trying to have sex with 365 dudes in 365 days. But she didn't respond. Like Annie Knightley or something.
Kalen Souza writes in English.
He does?
Yeah.
Okay. Starting to invite him on. I'm just going to go down this list. So hopefully Jack gets back to me. Hopefully we can get Jason's schedule. I'm just going to go down the list and invite all these dudes. And
Sweet.
then let me look at the girls. Women. Danielle Brandon. Oh, I'll text her now. Just get that right out of the way.
The easy kill.
Yeah. Danielle Brandon.
In 30 seconds, you just get a no.
Hey, comma. Please come on the podcast. Thank you.
Holy shit.
What? You think that's the approach I should use, right?
No, that's good. Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
you're looking at. Oh no.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Please tell me it didn't happen. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It's so deep. Okay. Okay, Dan, Shelby Neal I had on. How about
Yep.
this chick, Gemma Raider? Who's that?
She probably speaks English. Isn't that like South African flag or something?
Yep.
She got English.
Okay, I'm DMing her right now too. Gemma. Hey, I started watching Sousa was on Glinton and things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking damn good.
Was it yesterday? A couple days ago?
Couple days. Oh yeah, I think yesterday.
All right. I'll have to go watch.
Gemma. Isn't Gemma the mom's name in that motorcycle series? What was
Motorcycle series.
what was the motorcycle series? There's tons of killing and shit in it.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, that was the mom's name, I think. Gemma, I
tomorrow. You're right.
love to have you on my podcast. Okay. Oh, Danielle got back to me already.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding.
damn it.
Okay. Does Andrea Pinheiro speak English?
I think all she knows is "fuck you, Hiller." That's probably it.
Dude, that's gonna be. I hope the chat's nice to her when she's on.
I mean, if she still makes it to the games, they still got to go through all the drug tests.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy. Oh, it's weird when the show's over. I just know my a whole different section of my life starts up. It's weird. It's not like I don't want to do it, but it's like I want to do it, but it's like just a complete shift.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get it. Yeah, like I gotta go like take the dog out after this.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just like this just goes like, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go out, pick up poop or wipe someone's butt or get tackled in the living room. I mean, it's all cool stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably
But-
go pick up coffee for my mom or something.
Yeah, just different.
Yeah.
Oh, Katie Seagal. Yeah, that's her real name. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Dave Newman. I guess there'll be a Dave Castro week in review of the CrossFit. Oh, this week's Kill Taylor, $2,000. Jesus.
Biggest pot we've
When
ever
will
had.
you stop wiping butts? I mean, I pretty much have, but every once in a while I get called in. You know what I mean? I get called in. I probably usually it's late at night. I should have probably stopped I should have stopped when they were 16. The other day, one of my boys called me and I'm like, you do it. And he's like, no, you do it. And we're yelling back and forth. And I come in there, he goes, fine, I'll do it. I'm like, you fucking asshole. I walked over here.
Can't wait for them to be old enough that you can embarrass them with that. You're like, yeah, I wiped your butt.
Oh, I already do.
Good.
You know what I mean? Like they'll be like, hey, so yesterday I had they found a cigarette lighter in one of the junk drawers and they were playing with it. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, just figuring out how this works. I'm like, dude, you guys don't even wipe your butt. They're like, yeah, we do. I'm like, well, until 10 days straight and I don't wipe a butt, you can't use a cigarette lighter. You know what I mean? Or like we had a magnifying glass in the backyard and they're burning shit and I put it away. I hid it. I'm like, they're like, why'd you do that? I'm like, you guys don't even wipe your own butts 100% of the time. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Yeah, there's things. Yeah. They're like, what? Yeah, it's totally awesome. Ass wiping is a metric.
Self-care.
I saw the episode yesterday where Storm got killed.
Oh, in The Boys?
Yeah. It doesn't really make any sense because Superman fires a load, like massive load, into her chest and it doesn't kill her. Homelander does, but somehow the boy killed her, the little boy.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. There are a few instances where you're like, so how did these guys die?
Yeah.
Like what? Just weird shit happens. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good one. I have a rule that my 6-year-old boy can't walk to the park until he can choke me out. Yeah, I get that.
Oh shit. Read the next one.
Wow. Dr. Chapman. Dr. Mr. Matosian. Yes, Mr. Chapman. Please have a seat. I'd like to thank you for your inspiration. Huh, I hear that every day, but thank you. Go on. After years of telling me I'm a bad parent, I apologize for that, but the truth is the truth. I've decided to homeschool from September on. It's official. Well, fantastic. Finally, you've grown a sack. Good job. You can now, here's your magnifying glass, Mr. Chapman. You are now a responsible adult. Hey, congratulations, dude. Keep me posted on that. You're going to love it. How old's the boy? How old's the kid? That's awesome. Have you eaten today, Caleb?
No, I have not.
Do you normally not eat before the show?
Yeah, normally I don't. I'll just wait until afterwards. Not big on like having having food as soon as I wake up.
Yeah, I don't eat before the show either, but we're in a different time zone. But I think I'm gonna have a ribeye this morning.
Oh wow.
Okay, I'm gonna play this video, but I'm really scared.
These kids are 5 and 7. That'll be fun.
Oh yeah, that's my age. Yeah, you're gonna love it. That's great.
I think I'm gonna go pick some ribeyes up today, probably.
Oh my god. Did you play the video?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, jeez. Did you see what I wrote?
Yes.
Listen, Heidi Krim, the inside joke shit is just annoying, guys. I hear you. And I apologize, but this is I want to tell you because you guys would thoroughly enjoy it. It's so inappropriate, and the ramifications of showing it would be a setback for all of us. I know. Quit pissing off my girl. Okay, fine. It would be a man, I do want to tell you guys. Maybe I should make a list of, you know what I'll do, Heidi? I'll make a list of these things because it's definitely not an inside joke. It's just, it's like, you know how that cop got busted for doing that stunt and it would have been totally fine if he didn't have the Nashville thing? It's like, this is worse than that.
It's worse than that.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you in a text somewhere, maybe. It just can't be broadcast. It could be shared. Anyway, okay, I'll drop it. Okay, Pinheiro, Emma Lawson, I've never had her on the show. Chloe Gavon David, I need to have her on the show. I think I got her number from Gabe. Haley Adams, Brooke Wells, Tia Toomey. What do you guys think? Do you think Tia's going to come on?
No.
Yes. Hey, dude, this is a great guess. Unless you tell us someone, I'm just gonna assume it's Taylor and Bryson docking. Dude, it's so solid. Hey, you're in the ballpark. Seriously, right? Isn't he? Like you have a seat at the game. Like you can, like you have like, yeah,
You're in the
Like, if
nosebleeds.
yeah.
but
Like if it's a
you're in the
picture of an
ballpark.
elephant, you can see a little piece of it, like the trunk. Yeah, you're in there, dude. You're definitely in there. Haiti Canyu, Maddie Sturt, Danny Spiegel, Karen Freyova. Damn, there's a lot to get through. Elisa Fuliano, Emma McQuaid. The Sahar Kai interview Dave did was great.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
listen to that one yet.
Okay. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to Home Depot now with my dad. My dad's here.
Mm.
I'm dying. Hey, have you ever been in a car and seen how fast it can go?
Yeah.
And did
Few
it play out? Did it play out okay? Like no one got injured or you didn't get a ticket?
Correct.
Yeah. Have you ever had it go wrong?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
That's weird.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
That'd be a horrible time for something to go wrong.
Probably the worst. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know when you top out a car and it's like, like you're in some fucking like 1990 Nissan Maxima and it's like going 120 and then all of a sudden it's like it's like 121 and you're like, "Oh." And then it goes back down to 119, you're like, "Oh." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you go down a little hill and you're like 123. Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really start pushing the threshold a little bit.
I think
Yeah.
that is the fastest I've ever gone in a car that I can remember. I think I took a Nissan Maxima down, not like a steep hill, but it was on a freeway with a slight decline.
Yeah.
I think I pegged it at 118, and then I got like another 5 miles an hour out of it.
Damn.
Someone threw a bottle of Jack Daniels out of the sunroof while we were doing it.
Oh my God.
I know, crazy, right?
And that's what would scare me is people like doing shit like
Stupid,
that. Just
stupid,
yeah,
stupid.
yeah. I've gone 140 in an Audi R8. That was on a track, but in like I've gone probably 115, 120 in my truck, just on a regular old street.
When I had this I had a Kawasaki 1000 RR or something fucking crazy.
Hmm.
And on New Year's Eve morning, I want to say I got it up to 130. Like I don't even know how fast I got it because when I looked down, it said 130, and then I immediately let off.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no one on the road. I was riding to HQ to do a workout. It was New Year's Eve, and there was no one on the road. It was crazy.
Yeah. As soon as I hit triple digits, I'm like, my butt clenches up just a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
But it's like you get like that like jolt of adrenaline or whatever. Like you feel like butterflies. You're like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah. I did 110 in a 64 horsepower 1977 Honda Rabbit once, 4-speed.
Wow.
Yeah, the speedometer went to 110.
Fast.
And I pegged it there. I mean, it took a long time to get from like 98 to 110 is like a journey.
Mm.
You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
2 or 3 minutes of fucking come on, baby, come on.
Pushing
And
it
it's
along.
fucking, yeah, and it's getting it, and it had attack, and you could see the red line.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy. 4-speed, good old days. Front wheel drive.
Damn.
But some people do crazy shit. I think there's people who own motorcycles who go like 120 every day.
Yeah, for sure. Like if there's like a whole like side of Instagram and TikTok of just motorcyclists who just
really just doing crazy shit.
Yep. Just like splitting semis or
160. Is that a BMW?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fuck that.
Dude, I was on a 3-lane highway on the Kawasaki doing 130. There was no one on it, but I felt like the highway went from like 3 lanes to like half a lane.
Just by how
Like,
fast you were going?
yeah, it just felt like it got so skinny all of a sudden.
Everything got real treacherous real fast.
They hit 207. Wow. Oh my god. Are those electric bikes doing that, Jake? Wow, Jethro, I clocked a bike at 130. I just let them go.
Hell yeah, dude.
Aaron Fraser. That's Matt Fraser's code handle. Good to have you here, buddy. Thank you. 75 in your Ford Tempo.
You're not even going the speed limit.
I did 150 on the Autobahn only for a few miles. Crazy fast. What kind of car? That's what's crazy, dude. Up over 100 cars can start being weird.
Yeah. Definitely.
Some cars are fine with it. Some cars are not so fine with it.
I think I hit 100 in my 2000 Jeep Cherokee once, and I was like, "Oh boy, this is not okay." I like.
Does it rattle?
Yeah, it rattles at like 80. Like I can't. I was like, let's see how this goes. And I was like pinned. It was sketchy.
Greg has this new truck. I forget what it is. It's massive. It has 44s on it. It's massive.
Like
maybe you saw it. No, he got another one after the Hennessy. It's a diesel.
Oh.
But anyway, it's like 90 is nothing. And it has 44s on it.
Damn.
I know. You just get on the freeway and you're just cruising 90. And the tires aren't even, there's not even a wah, nothing.
Wow. It's just smooth.
I should take a picture of it and post it.
It's
It's an absolutely nut truck. It has a snorkel, the whole fucking thing. It's nuts.
Sick. Oh, I remember Greg telling us about it. I don't think I actually ever saw it. But
diesel. He already parked his Hennessy somewhere. It's like in retirement.
Wow. That's it, huh? That's all you get.
Yeah.
Wow.
1,000 horsepower truck already been replaced by a diesel.
That's right. Now he's a stud. He's not a racehorse anymore.
Maybe I'll see what I can get out of my 2014 Kia Soul. Nah, there's no need. Oh wow, he did 150 in an Audi A8. Wow,
damn, those station wagons are no joke, man.
I think Greg has the fastest like Audi that they make. It's like as fast as the R8, and it looks like a station wagon. And it's fast as fuck. It's like $135,000 station wagon. It's nuts. I want to say it's faster than his Porsche.
Wow.
Yeah, he did 150 in that.
That's wild.
I think that's one of those cars when you turn, the seat hugs you. Have you ever been in a car like that? Like whichever way you turn, the seat push. Yeah, it's crazy.
Whoa.
Like to hold you in place.
Yeah, yeah.
He's had a couple cars like that. Any update on Games Access? No, I need the ball's in my court. I need to send an email today. Thank you for reminding me. All right. Tomorrow's show will be not how fast you've gone in a car, but the longest you've lasted having sex. And we'll see you there. It's going to be a great show. Talk to you guys later. Caleb, thank you. Bye-bye.